I took my shoes off.
Go for it.
Okay.
That's totally fine. No!
It smells great.
No, it's totally fine. I have a really good candle if we get desperate, but I don't smell a thing.
2,
I don't smell a thing.
3, 4.
Podcast. We're making a podcast about 30 Rock. Podcast. We're making a podcast about 30 Rock. We're calling it Talk 30 to Me. It is great.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Kelsey.
I'm Kimmie.
And this is Talk 30 to Me.
I thought you forgot the name for a moment. The way you paused.
Dramatic pause.
Was that dramatic?
This is Talk 30 to Me.
We're using dramatic pauses for a comedy show.
Yes, exactly.
Perfect. Well, Kelsey, it's not just us today.
What?
He's sitting right next to you.
Oh my gosh.
This is such a weird device.
I thought it was the cat again. Yes, we have somebody else here with us right now.
It's really exciting. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah.
Will, thank you so much for joining. We have Will Blanchard here, everybody. Woo!
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. How are you?
People are going to be so excited when they hear my name.
I know, they're like,
The
Will
recognition is going to just carry this whole
Blanchard.
thing. Yeah.
No, thank you so much. You're our first guest. It's really exciting for us. I didn't tell you that because I was like, he won't want to do it. I did not want to tell you. I'm like, it'll stress it out.
I let the cat out of the bag a little bit ago.
You did.
Tina Fey will be on this show.
Oh,
Yes.
that's
So it'll be a
nice.
stepping stone. It'll start with me, and then it'll move up to her.
We need a Talk 30 to Me vision board that's just a lot of pictures of Tina
just
Fey.
Tina Fey.
Everywhere.
Oh, is
Looks
this
like
show
collage.
called Talk 30 to Me?
Yeah,
I now
that's
know
the
the name.
title.
Of the
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what, yeah.
Did I not tell you?
No, you were being
I'm
mysterious.
a terrible host.
man.
You really are.
I'm so
Okay,
sorry.
I'll help with the next guest.
Okay, fine.
Give them the warning. Be like, here, listen to a couple episodes first. See how it goes.
I'm learning about booking. It's new.
I'm glad that Will's agent said that it was okay for him to come on the show.
I know. CAA is so difficult. That was an insight. That was an industry joke. I shouldn't have made it.
Yeah. For you playing along at home.
I know, exactly.
All right. Well, Will is here because he's cool.
And
Sorry, that was I can't talk. And
Will, we wanted you to
said-
come on, A, because you're really, really cool. We're friends. And B, because you worked as a New York Page.
I did.
And we're really obsessed with Kenneth.
Yeah.
Yes, I was a 30 Rock Page for a year after college, and I worked SNL, and I worked Fallon. I also worked a ton of news shows that aren't as glamorous, and I met Kenneth a couple times.
You met Jack McBrayer.
I did. He was
That
a
man.
very sweet man. I don't think he's different from
Kenneth.
the show. I don't know. Have you ever? You work at Nerd Melt. You've probably seen him before.
He hasn't
right?
been at Nerd Melt, but I've seen him do. I saw him do Facebook once at UCB, and he was delightful. He's so funny. It was great.
But
it was great.
he doesn't come off as being different than Kenneth in the show.
Very
does he?
smiley. I remember he
Yes.
smiled a lot, and I was like, "Yay!"
Yes.
How fun! I just want to give him a hug.
That's how we all feel. With
We
Kenneth.
did too, but we would get like a restraining order or get
Wow.
fired, so we couldn't do that. It was
Worth
upsetting.
it.
No, that's awesome. So wait, were you there when 30 Rock was a thing? It was still on the air at that point, right?
It was still on the air, and then also they did a 30 Rock live show in 8H, I believe.
I'm so sorry.
yeah.
What
I
did you
didn't-
work?
Wait,
the
was
live
the-
show?
I did not.
first
I'm
live
sorry
show
to
or the second
disappoint
live
you all.
show?
It was the second
Oh,
one
the
when I
second
was
one.
there.
Sorry, I'm all. There were two.
Was that
Technically
Let's
four,
get
but there were
this
two.
right.
Yeah, I think in 2012 they did that one.
Yeah.
I was like a baby Page. Like the Page program's very much like a hierarchy. Like it's a year long, and you start out like, you get hazed, and then like by the time you're the oldest.
Can you talk about the process of becoming a page? What was that like?
It is. The reason I was a Page is because I interned at NBC, and so when you intern, that makes it a little bit easier. And I was part of this pipeline that kind of like helped me get in for an interview. And then basically they just want to know that you can be charming and talk in front of people. So if you can prove that, you could probably get the job. But once you're in, it's extremely competitive. You're always like Pages, like the way it works. I know you didn't ask this. I'm just
No,
telling
go
you
for it.
this.
No, I want to hear this. I want to hear all
It's
of this.
1 year. It can end any time before that because the goal is to get a job.
Oh, right.
And it's basically when you start, you're doing nothing but giving 30 Rock tours, which are grueling. Like they start one every 15 minutes. And so
my
you're
gosh.
like herding, and like you're herding tourists who are asking you what we've done with Ann Curry. That was like the number one question.
Wait, what you've done? What happened to Ann
Where is
Curry?
Why we murdered her or threw her in a closet or so. I don't know.
Was she did she just
Today
disappear?
Show fired her, but
Oh, I
remember that?
forgot
Funny.
about that.
And you were
I'm really
instrumental
old.
in that.
This was 1912.
What are you saying about Ann Curry?
Yeah, no,
That was
like,
my question for him later.
tour, and also like you get a lot of like it was mostly like European or just generally foreign non-American tourists who wanted to like see where Seinfeld was shot.
I mean, that's reasonable. I feel that way, and I'm an American. So.
Yeah, you had to tell them like, no, this is where Lawrence O'Donnell is, and they were just like, it was like, I don't know. There were two sides of the program. Like it was on one hand like wonderful and just like you see in the show and exciting, and on the other hand like it was corporate because like 30 Rock tells us like, you know, Comcast, Cabletown owns the place. So it's very like, it's all about like the money and bringing money in, you know?
It's true. It's true. And the show makes fun of that a lot, which I enjoy.
Right.
But me too. But yeah, I'll just say like, you give tours and then you interview for assignments. And assignments are like 3-month rotations. And there are assignments for SNL, Fallon, the news shows.
Is SNL always like the one everybody wants to end up on SNL?
Yes, and they SNL runs on like a school schedule. There's like fall semester and spring semester. So, and each of those times they bring in pages, and so it gets really competitive. But no matter what, you get to work SNL, so it's fun.
That's awesome.
How often do you end up in the same assignment? Multiple, like you're on I'm just curious. I'm like,
no, it's
like
a fair question because Kenneth never leaves 30 Rock.
Like, is that normal?
Got really close to everybody.
Yeah.
Well, are you talking about how? Because you
said like, there's like 3-month assignments. Like if you're on SNL, the first assignment, is there a guarantee that you will not be on SNL the next?
Oh yeah, can you get reassigned to the same thing?
You don't get reassigned
to the same one.
Each assignment is like a unique. You can't go to the same one twice.
Kenneth was very special then because he just never left.
He was special.
Never left TGS. It's true.
He was a character in the show that needed to interact with the characters, so he got to stay on as a page.
Let this lie get perpetuated in my heart. Don't ruin the magic.
No, I feel like I'm bragging when I say this, but SNL was one of the coolest things I've ever done. It was almost like a black tie event. People showed up. People dressed in suits. People drank. And it was a lot of fun. Nobody really cared.
Fun.
My favorite experience I ever had in television so far was the night when Kanye West was on SNL.
No, what was that like?
He performed Black Skinhead, and I thought he was going to like murder somebody. And he had his posse, and he was just like crazy. I held the door for Kim when she was pregnant with the first.
Oh, with Northwest.
Northwest, and they didn't say thank you. And Fred Armisen was there. It was his last show.
Oh, wow.
This was like May 2013, and Ben Affleck was there with Jennifer Garner, and they joked about the whole Oscars thing where he said marriage is work. And Fred Armisen brought all these indie people like Dinosaur Jr. and Sonic Youth to kind of see him off. So it was a great night.
So cool. Fred Armisen is probably the coolest human being.
Do you guys watch Portlandia?
Yes.
Kimmie does.
Yes. I got really obsessed with it. It's genius. I need to watch this new season. I don't want to go. My friend, I'm going to tell this Fred Armisen story. I got a text message. She's like, Fred Armisen is in this record store I'm in. And I'm like, what? And then she sends me a photo. It is like a foot from his face. She just went like this. And he's not looking. He's going. But I'm like, dude, how close did you get? She's like, I don't care. I wanted to send you a photo. I want you to think I'm cool. But she literally just went like this to him and ran away. So
he probably didn't care.
He probably didn't care. He's really cool. I don't want to derail. This is so interesting, though. SNL must have been great. The craziness we see on 30 Rock with TGS, does that craziness really accurate to what you experienced on working SNL?
Like crazy errands you had to run?
And like just the rush. It seems like it's just running all the time.
I don't mean to disappoint, but I was not an SNL page, so I didn't get sent on runs. But I will say that it was pretty crazy, and they know that, and they kind of create a culture around that. And they would literally have a live llama like frequently. I don't know, like any time they do a bit where the host is in the hallways of SNL talking.
They always have
they always have like a llama, somebody dressed as Abraham Lincoln, and like dancing showgirls in like frilly 19th century Western.
People that are never actually on the show.
Yeah. Like you'd come out of the, like 30 Rock, it's very much like it runs on staircases. Like pages take the secret stairs, you know? And so you'd come out of the stairs on the 8th floor where they do the show, and like you'd just be like face to face with a llama that was taller than you. So it is fun. And like also a lot of my friends were pages for the show that would sit at the desk. And I don't know how secretive this is. Maybe I'll get in trouble, but apparently like they were given a talk when they start. Okay, do not buy drugs for the cast.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, that's not surprising in the least. That has been an issue for a historical amount of years on SNL.
They said the same thing for me when I worked on Weekend Today with Lester Holt.
Okay.
I'm kidding. He doesn't do drugs.
No, with a name like Lester Holt, I don't think you could.
No.
I don't think anyone would sell you anything.
No.
I wanted to know, and then I don't know if you had a question too.
I'm enjoying this so much.
I know.
I'm enjoying this.
Already?
These ladies are very funny.
Oh, that's nice.
They make me laugh, so I'm proud to be on the show.
Yay. Well, I wanted to know, what is the weirdest thing you had to do as a page? Because like on 30 Rock, it's a constant thing where I think my favorite one is Tracy tells Kenneth, "You'll rub my snake's belly till he poops." Just my Tracy Morgan. That's my Tracy Morgan impression. No, and obviously that is absurd. The show is surreal. But did you have any weird moments where you got asked to do something like, this is strange? Okay.
Okay, I think the weirdest thing I can think of is that I worked a Hurricane Sandy benefit that we did. It was like a telethon, and I was the desk page for it. So that was my closest
I actually
thing to
remember
an
that
SNL
telethon.
I have that
experience.
song in my head now from the disaster episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was an awesome day, and we did it in not Jimmy Fallon's studio, but the one right next door where Conan's studio used to be.
Oh, okay.
And that means nothing to anyone listening to this.
No, it's in this episode, though.
That's right. That studio is 6A. We did it there, and there were just like Bruce Springsteen was there, Billy Joel was there, all those Jersey singers were there. Brian Williams was down there bullshitting with everybody. Excuse me, sorry.
No,
I was a Jersey guy, like putting his hand around like meatloaf.
Soon.
And
too soon.
Yeah. And I was there, and Steven Tyler was like wasted. And he came up to me and like asked me to pretend that I was bartending. And he pretended that my page desk was a bar so that he could like talk to people and bring them in like, "Hey baby, what's up?"
Oh,
and
how funny.
He had like and he had been in trouble because that morning he'd been on Today's Show, and he'd come out on the plaza and he'd said like, "Good morning, America." And then he was like, "Whoops, fuck." And he said the F word on live TV after misidentifying the show. So it was good. It was good. That was like the weirdest moment when I had to like entertain his fantasy that he was like at a bar.
Did you find like a what is it, like a napkin you throw it over your shoulder and you're like,
Right.
"How's the day been,
Put a tip
Steve?"
jar out on
You
the
would have done that,
table.
Kimmie.
I would have been like an old timey.
Than me.
I would have gone old timey immediately. But I
would've
think
made
you
a
probably
bow
did the right
tie out
thing.
of something.
So he turns around suddenly. I'm like, like
Yeah.
just rubbing a dirty cloth on the same like fake glass,
over and over again.
just fake miming it.
Throwing another page out.
Well, did you feed his fantasy or no?
Yeah, of course I did.
You don't say no to Steven
Of course
Tyler.
I did. You can't not. I have another story about that day, but I don't.
Give us one more story.
Go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there was this crazy PR lady who didn't work there. And she was there with like, one of the minor people that was on the show. And she was just milking being at 30 Rock for all it was worth. And so she made friends with me. "Oh, Will the Page, like Kenneth." And so I got in an elevator to go run an errand for someone during that telethon. And I got in and Lorne Michaels was in the elevator.
Oh my gosh.
And like, you don't talk to Lorne Michaels. Like he's
That's
like
what I've
this
heard.
ghostly phantom. And at SNL, he would stand next to you sometimes, but he was always floating. He was never in the same place. So I get in the elevator, and this woman, this PR person, is in the elevator with me and Lorne Michaels, and so she starts talking to Lorne Michaels.
Oh, no.
And she goes, "Lorne, I want you to meet Will the Page."
Oh my gosh.
No.
And he looked at me kind of like, "Okay, I guess we're doing this."
You're like, "I'm so sorry.
So I shook his hand, which
Good.
that was exciting, and I said, "Hi, Mr. Michaels. I'm a page." And he had he looked at my uniform, and he was like, "Oh, I couldn't tell." And it was funny, and that was the only interaction we had. But it was
You joked with Lorne Michaels.
he joked with me.
A
But
lot of people
That's
can't say
awesome.
that. I don't even think Mark Maron can say that.
And it's not like you were awkward about like, "Oh my goodness, hi, nice to meet you." Like this other lady put you in that position and you handled it very well.
Thank you. I'm so great. That's why I came on this podcast.
I mean, it's true. You're joking, but we're serious.
Yes.
Did you see anybody?
It was great. I was fired the next day, but it was a nice interaction.
It's a good farewell,
Right,
right?
it was awkward. Did anybody who was in the Page program while you were there, did you see them leave and go on to something big and fun and exciting?
Yeah. One of my buddies, we don't talk as much anymore, but one of my start sister is Lauren's assistant.
Oh, wow.
And she's a huge, deal at SNL now. I'm so proud of her. There's a lot of people that went on to do great things at NBC. And yeah, it is cool. Like the whole joke at the Page program is like they treat you nice because they think you might run the company someday. So like people are always nice to you, and like people will buy you coffee just because and talk to you just because.
Ooh, that's smart.
Are the hours grueling?
Yeah. You work 6 days a week. It's easy to get desensitized. What do you take it for granted?
Yeah.
It's easy to take it for granted.
Yeah.
And it's not always as like magical as you would think it is, but like nothing is. So you just have to enjoy the moment.
No.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, not a secret. I'll tell you, I interviewed to be a page here, and it didn't work out because they did the video interviews where you it's on your computer and like you have 1 minute to answer, and then one of the questions literally was, you're in a boardroom pitching why people should buy shares in NBC. What do you say? Why should they buy shares? And I'm like, this is why I'm doing the program, to learn how to do this. And I was starting to answer it, and my mother walked in the room and started talking to me. So I got flustered, and I was like, I couldn't answer it. The next day, they're like, I'm so sorry, but we're not accepting you to the Page program. And I was just like,
First of all, they're idiots. You would have been amazing Page.
Thank you. But it was post Tonight Show out here.
Why did your mom walk in?
Because I was in the only room with good lighting at that point, and good service was the kitchen. And so she walked in the door and saw my car and was like, Kimmie's here, blah, blah, blah. And then she turns and sees me with my eyes are like dinner plates. So I'm like, and so it was
live,
worst.
right? Like they only record you.
They record you once, so you can't do it again. And they record you live.
I remember when they introduced that, not to interrupt you, and that was very controversial.
It was
a lot
horrible.
of people were like, that's not fair. Because I was back again in 1912 when I started. It was phone screeners.
Just like Kenneth.
Just like Kenneth.
Yeah, it was phone screeners. And then you would go to the panel, which is like this where you interview with everybody else and you have to give a presentation.
Yeah, but yeah, that was an experience.
You're my favorite Page that was never a Page.
Thank you.
I'll say that.
I hope I get it. I'm gonna make like a patch, and I'm gonna put it on my
almost
my jacket.
A tattoo
favorite
with the
almost
peacock.
a Page. Yeah, exactly. Just the peacock.
You get like a Comcast logo. I'm like, you messed that up.
No, exactly.
It's like
went the
half the
wrong
peacock
direction.
though, like not the full peacock because you weren't quite there.
Oh man. Well, I'm so excited. We got to talk about this, but now we have to talk about 30 Rock.
30 Rock. So we've got 2 episodes today.
2 episodes
also,
today.
This is our 4th episode of our podcast, right?
Woo!
Episode 4, but episodes 6 and 7 of the beloved show.
This gets more
30 Rock.
complicated every time as the numbers change.
I know. I'm going to stop keeping track. I'm like, we'll see where we're at right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So the first episode we're going to talk about is Jack Meets Dennis.
Oh man.
Dun, dun.
And well, you got to watch both of these, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you did.
Yes.
I knew you were a man who does his homework.
So the first thing that before we... what did you do?
I hit this and it made a noise. Can you start that over again?
Yes, we can try this again. So Jack Meets Dennis was first airing... it can try that again.
Leave it in.
Airing. Jack Meets Dennis first aired on November 30th, 2006. Director was Juan Jose Campanella, who this was his only episode of 30 Rock that he directed. He did a bunch of Law & Order SVUs, some House, and a movie called The Boy Who Cried Bitch. So those are his credits.
Sounds like a great comedy.
Yeah, and then Jack Burdett, he was the writer on it along with Tina Fey with 30 Rock, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, and Mindy Project, Frasier, all that fun stuff.
Blah, yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's the
Do
question?
you guys talk about the director every episode?
I do.
Kelsey is our research person. Kelsey knows
crazy.
all. Like you're gonna hear it. Kelsey does the most amazing research. It's the best because I'm like all into the weird theories that I have about the show, and then Kelsey just knows everything.
That's amazing. I get the writer part, but I think it's very in depth that you're doing director.
Well,
Nice work.
for me, it was inspired because I'm a big X-Files fan, and the director is a very important part of X-Files.
One of the directors for one of the first episodes, he went on to do Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
Oh, wow.
Oh, look at that. That was kind of cool.
So we care. We really care.
You
here.
do care.
Because if we suddenly get one of them on the show, we want to say we gave you credit when it was your
Yes.
episode.
When it was you, when it was
One
your
of your
turn.
episodes.
But this episode's amazing because it's really the beginning of like we really, this is when we actually really get to start experiencing Liz's love life, which is such a huge theme on the show. And we had the one date where she went on the date with the lesbian.
With the lesbian, right?
It's a great episode.
Gretchen Thomas.
But this one establishes the longest running, I think, guy in the show, which is Dennis Duffy.
Dennis Duffy.
Dennis.
It's a great name.
It's
for
such a good
douchebag.
name.
Right. I was thinking when I was trying to think, I'm like, 'cause I always like try and do like a sentence recap of what the episode was like, and I was like, okay, we meet Liz's old douchebag, her ex-boyfriend, basically. Jack gives an opinion about it, and Tracy and Josh and Jenna have a rough episode.
They have a bad episode. Nothing goes well for them here.
Also, Jenna's back because Jenna hasn't been in. She wasn't in the last 2 episodes, I think, right?
Oh yeah.
So Jenna's finally back.
I love this episode particularly because they introduce Dennis Duffy.
Mr. Duffy.
Mr. Duffy is amazing. So it's played by Dean Winters. He is amazing because, he normally plays this character. Right? He's such a jerk. He's really unaware. He's kind of a brute-ish. Mm-hmm. And yes, he's in all those Allstate commercials where he plays Chaos. What is it?
It's it's not Chaos. It's
Disaster or something?
yeah, crud. What's his name in it though? It's
Not Menace.
I
think I just did it because Dennis the Menace. That's where I came from.
It's my name. I think it's with an M. Hang on, you keep talking.
Google.
I will find it.
I love him. So he always plays this character, except in P.S. I Love You. Do you remember him in P.S. I Love You?
I just saw it in his IMDb credit. I've never seen P.S.
You know, okay, first of all, I should watch
They gave
P.S.
him a chance to be a real actor.
They let him be a real human in P.S. I Love You. He is the most romantic man in this. And I watched it after being a big 30 Rock fan because he shows up like 2/3 through. He meets Lisa Kudrow's character in a bar and they, they
Lisa
connect.
Kudrow's in that?
Lisa Kudrow's in that. Why have you not watched P.S. I Love You?
I don't know.
You need to get on that. It's Gerard Butler and a bunch of other Scottish actors who are very handsome. So it's your MO to see that.
Mayhem.
I was right with the M. We were both right with the M.
There.
He's Mayhem in that, but I love him in P.S. I Love You because he is the most romantic, like nice dude. And it's very strange because he normally plays this kind of like rough and tough, brutish, rude, gross person. And he's so good at it.
He puts that on his resume.
He does. I play gross very
Things
well.
I'm good at.
And then I'm bummed though, because I think he's starring like level. I think he's so good on the show. And he was just in that show with Cal Penn, Battle Creek, the Vince Gilligan show it went like 4 episodes and got canceled, I think, on CBS. Battle Creek, right? I'm looking at you. You don't have to know this.
I'm going to give a thumbs up.
It's a good thumbs up. Thumbs up are great on podcasts. So I'm glad you said it because that helps. Yeah. But I love Dean Winters.
We should talk about what I'm wearing today.
Your Jimmy Fallon shirt.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And a big thumbs up.
Big thumbs up. But Dennis is the best. And we get a weird picture into Liz
He's
Lemon's.
the best and the worst.
He's the best and the worst. Well, he's just such a fun boyfriend for hers. And we get a real weird picture into Liz Lemon's sex life.
Yes.
What is it?
This is not the first time.
Saturdays?
True. Fast and only on Saturdays. It is the first
and
time.
she's happy with
not the last
that.
time,
She's totally fine with it.
She's very comfortable with that.
She's happy about it.
They just like took that joke and they ran with it for the rest of the show.
Yeah.
For the rest of the show, it's always like her weird like expectations in the bedroom, which I love. But I really love this episode so much. It's not my favorite one.
Yeah. But
I love it.
But it was a good intro to who Dennis is as a character.
I love that I forgot that he's a beeper salesman and that he's therefore useless to society.
He is not just the beeper salesman. He is the beeper king. Please give him credit where credit is due. Right. Also,
the other one was like stabbed or something.
No, he shot himself.
He shot himself.
Yeah. He retired. Well, he shot himself. Also, I may have looked up to see if there was a Beaver King store in Brooklyn.
Is it in Brooklyn where he's supposed to be? That is the only place where Beaver King.
Yeah, so I looked up New York and it said that there was or is a Beaver King store in Brooklyn. There was also a JJ, the king of beepers, who was a former rabbi who had a crazy beeper commercial and billboard, and he ended up in prison because it was a front for a drug trafficking thing. That's JJ, the king of beepers, was a rabbi.
JJ, the king of beepers, was a rabbi and a drug trafficker.
Yeah, that was pretty special.
She does her research, right? It's incredible.
Yeah,
it's the best thing. I love that line though, where Jack, I don't even remember, it was Dennis complaining about food, and he was like, "Well, does he know that you're the beeper king?"
My favorite part about that scene is because they're at this fancy restaurant that Jack sent them to and all this stuff, and Dennis is saying he can only eat fish when it's fried or whatever his whole thing.
He's allergic to it unless it's fried. The science checks out.
And so Jack is meeting Dennis for the first time, and you can tell just the way Jack's talking to him. Not impressed by Dennis in any way, shape, or form. I hope you're happy with your decisions. And as he walks away, and Liz can still see Jack, and he just starts there and he does a little thumbs up in his heart, and he's like, I just think which is great on a podcast.
He gives a 10 sign, doesn't he?
He's a 10.
Yeah.
Jack with his girlfriend Anastasia.
Yes.
They choose the best names for all of
Melania
Jack.
Trump.
Exactly. Well, that's everyone he dates is a Melania. Jack is Jack is who we wish Donald Trump was. Let's be real.
Yes, the charm we want. Yeah.
Exactly. Like if Jack were running for president, we'd be like, oh man, there'd be a lot of financial stuff not everyone likes, but he'd be very charming.
He's a good asshole.
He's a good asshole. Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
I think one of the funniest things about his character is that standard for I'm a classy guy, and therefore he doesn't just say Dennis is terrible. He goes the very classy route, which makes it even funnier.
It's much funnier.
Like let you figure this out on your own.
Yes,
but clearly, Lemon, what are the choices? I hope you are happy with the choices you've made.
So because we get our little insight into Liz's love life, but we also get another little snippet into Jenna's love life when we find out that she was writing letters to Scott Peterson. Because we found out in a couple episodes before that she was I can't remember with David Blaine, that she was engaged to David Blaine.
She was with David Blaine.
Now that he's gotten hot and he's working because of all the stress
from his murder.
Yeah. That Scott Peterson is somebody that she writes letters to, which is
they choose special. the skeeziest people for Jenna. Yeah. It's absolutely wonderful.
I also want to make note later on. I know in a couple seasons later we have it's supposed to be like Liz's birthday, I think, again at another time. So here, though, we hear, Liz's birthday was last week because that's when Dennis popped back into the picture, which means her birthday is Thanksgiving week because if this episode aired November 30th. So just to keep in mind, if there's another birthday at some point, Is
that when the live episode in the future that's about her birthday? Was it a Thanksgiving?
Oh,
we're going to have to double check
remember that when that happens.
Oh my gosh.
To celebrate every Thanksgiving.
Every single time. We're going to have a Liz. We should do that actually.
It would make sense that a big food-based holiday
would be her birthday because she is all about that food.
It explains everything. That's why she eats so much. Her birthday was Thanksgiving probably when she was born.
And speaking of her food obsession, I will say this. Is this the first time we see the amazing food art in her office? Or have I talked about this every podcast episode?
No, I didn't.
She has the poster, I believe. There's a poster of food up on the wall. It's behind Jack when he's talking to her. I've tried to find that poster many times. It does not exist. Because if you look right here, I've got the poster of greatness from Ron Swanson right over
well, that's what I was saying.
the kitchen.
You saying that reminds me of Ron Swanson.
Exactly. So I've tried to collect all the great comedy show food posters for my kitchen because what else would I put in my kitchen? But I cannot find the ones from her office and it breaks my heart. So if anyone ever finds it, please email it to me or send it to me. I really want that. But I love the food art. There's a line, I want to go back. There's a line from Tracy Jordan where he says he owns 75,000 miles of gas to Quincy Jones.
Wait, no. He owes Quincy Jones $75,000.
Oh, didn't he say it has something to do with gas?
I thought I heard that too, actually.
I thought it had to do with gas, and I was like, that was the best road trip that has ever happened.
I think so, because I was like, why is he talking about gas?
I might hang on a second. You're
gonna have to look this up.
I'm just gonna watch it real quick with the closed captioning on. But feel free to keep talking.
No, we could pause for a second while you find this.
We could pause it. Hang on a second.
All right. What did you find?
So research has told me. Actually, I've figured out. So it's that I understand why you thought it was gas. It's $75,000 in cash.
But Kimmie's joke is better.
I like the gas. I like they were on this crazy road trip in gas, but it was in cash.
And Quincy paid the whole thing.
Quincy paid for all the gas the entire time.
And that's half of it.
Well, I think that was the joke. They were like, let's put Tracy and Quincy in a car and just see what happens. Because I would watch
so
that.
much better. And like because I always watch the closed captioning, which is why I was so confused. I swear it was money. Like I don't understand. Like, cash, gas. That sounds a lot more. Instead of I was like, how did you get gas from dollars? Cash though, that makes sense.
All right, that makes much more. That's less exciting. I like the line, but I might like it a little less in this way now. I liked it before.
I'm gonna say it was gas. They were on a road trip.
It was
together.
gas. I improved the joke.
I think if Tina Fey were here, she would agree with you about the gas line.
I hope so.
We should have. Someone read her scribbling wrong, and she
was like, "I meant gas." They said cash. Oh no.
Oh man. So we then Jack is always trying to figure out the way to get the most people watching the show and all that stuff. So talks about market research and they like green. And then what's too old, what's too young. And Jenna panics and tells him that she's 29. And then
she knew her stuff.
Instantly.
What year were you born?
What year were you born? When did you graduate? What song did you lose your virginity to? Motown Philly, Boyz II Men. And arachnophobia, drive-through movie. What's a
drive-through?
Which also, I know what a drive-through is, and I am way younger. I'm like...
It's a good joke, okay?
It's a great joke.
Let's not pick it apart.
The fast little...
We pick everything apart.
Yes. That's why we're doing a podcast about this show. We still love it, though.
Yeah.
No, she was on her stuff. I always really enjoyed that joke.
This is when we get the first mention of Liz Taylor, that Josh has an impression of Liz Taylor.
They're also weirded out by that. Liz Taylor was the hottest woman that ever lived.
Right. It's weird.
Why is
you
that
love her.
shocking?
No, you love her. I do. I really do.
Yeah, she got old. We all do. I don't.
She looked good.
She looked real good. I do admit, the hair was a bit much.
Well.
But we can't blame, that's what happens when we get old.
Yeah.
And hope it. But I know that shot of her later. It's Rachel Dratch again.
Yes. Rachel, is this her second appearance? Now?
No,
Who was
fourth.
supposed to star in the show,
Exactly.
right? Sorry to bring up
I've
the
seen-
controversy.
yeah.
It's insane. She's watched the whole pilot with Rachel Dratch. But that is the only thing that bothers me. So this first season, they have all those great Rachel Dratch bits. And then it stops after season 1. And I really wish they'd kept that up because she's incredible on the show.
She's really funny.
I think maybe she got upset and stopped doing it.
I mean, that's also reasonable.
Probably hard for her,
That was probably reasonable. I'm glad
here
they
to
kept her
ruin
on.
this podcast with sadness.
She left. No, she's wonderful on that. But so we have that scene then later. So Jack comes to talk to Liz about living a life. Why do you have your windows closed? Why do you have your blinds closed when you have such a view? You see the man making passionate love to himself. And then he makes a joke. Is he in a staff meeting? Is that that's just a double entendre, right?
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
No, because that's definitely a double entendre.
Not Jack.
As opposed to a joke about if he was doing that
actually in a staff meeting. It could go either way, but I was like, oh, that's a nice little that's a nice little double
a little
meaning.
wink to the camera, like, hey.
I really enjoyed that joke. And we get Jack Welch just brought up for the first time. Did you research who Jack Welch? Who's Jack Welch?
He was the CEO of GE from like 81 to 2001 or 84 to 2001.
I thought he must have been Welch. Is he also Welch's grapes?
No, but there's a joke later about grapes too at some point. But no, that's who, because it's spelled differently, I think.
Is it? I just always assumed that he was talking about the CEO of the jam company. I'm like, wow, he is an American entrepreneur. This makes sense.
That is a GE joke.
Yeah,
that's like a corporate NBC joke all the way. Like if it were done today, it would be Brian Roberts.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's
who's
fair.
the CEO of Comcast.
Oh, there
you didn't even know that.
I didn't even know
wonder
that.
you weren't a Page,
what happened?
Kimmie.
I know. What happened to Jeff Zucker?
He was like the president when GE's like in like their last days.
Okay, because they make a lot of good. They talk about Jeff Zucker.
Yeah, he was like Jeff Zucker was like ran the Today Show, did it really well when he was young, and then became like the head of the company, and like it was a disaster.
You have all the good background.
Now he runs CNN.
Oh,
the airport network.
He probably made the right choice. It was at the airport when I was there last week. You're right.
It always is.
It always is. Dude, CNN last week explained to me what a podcast was. They're like, you can put them on your phone. And I was like,
What?
oh, no.
There are a lot of people that's very relevant information to.
No, but for me,
Like,
or they think it's just an iPhone thing, and like because you can get them in so many other places now.
it's true. But they explained the podcast app on the iPhone. They did go that far, and they're like, you can choose. I like cereal, and they explain cereal to you.
Find the
They're
purple
like-
icon.
They're like, coming up, what is the YouTubes? Find out after this.
Oh man. So when Jack walks into her office, this is the first time, at least in this episode, that that Jack questions her taste in things. And this one,
He questions her taste in clothing all the time.
well, in this episode, this
Okay.
episode specifically,
He's got a
because
sassy.
They've got a great his Girl Friday.
and we've talked about this before on our the podcast, how we like that they have like a back and forth, but it's not like a work relationship where it's like this.
It's never
uncomfortable-
sexual tension.
It's not.
There's no sexual
flirtatious,
tension.
It's just
Frustration.
yeah.
It's pure frustration.
Which we appreciate on that one. But Liz is singing Maybe from Annie.
Oh my God. This is one of my favorite 30 Rock jokes of all time, where she's in there. Betcha he reads. Betcha she sews. Betcha she made you. That's a real joke from her real life, too, I think. Because remember, she talks about in Bossy Pants, she's saying, like, never
Bible.
let them use, in the Bible, never let them use your own iPod or your own phone for music. She goes,
Oh, yeah,
put
when
on
she's at a
shuffle,
photo
and no
shoot.
matter what happens, Thank You, Herbert Hoover will always play twice.
Yes.
So I just love the fact that is clearly pulled from her life. She's a big Annie fan.
Yes.
My favorite part of that joke was just the silence when she's turning it off. She like walks in and there's just this silent moment where she just chills.
Flustered.
Yeah.
Which there's a good silent moment later when they're in the after all the stuff and she's coming to the realization about what she needs to do with Dennis, and Jack is just standing in the back of the elevator, and she's having that entire conversation to herself with him never saying a word. But Jack's silent presence, I think, is
Well, strong. Well, she refused to let him be the mentor.
The
so.
conference
Yes.
call later when she comes in.
God, that is also one of the other
Gentlemen,
best.
we'll
That's her,
continue
isn't
this
it?
conversation.
That was a great joke because the look on his face. God, Alec
It really
Baldwin.
looked like he wasn't doing anything. I don't
No.
blame her.
That joke every time surprises me too. That's what is so good about the way they set up that scene. Every time I forget that's the joke that's about to happen, just because the way, and then he just moves. It is flawlessly directed. It's such an incredible bit.
it's good.
We're just bouncing so much.
In that conference call, they were taking a moment of silence to write something down, I think. So it looked like he was just working alone.
That's the only way that could possibly explain it.
Yeah.
Dennis tells us that there are 17 rats per person in Manhattan, and it is 1 rat per 4 people.
This was 2006, though. You have to
More
adjust
rats.
for that year.
Giuliani's New York.
This was, yeah.
I don't, was it you? I don't even know.
Bloomberg.
Bloomberg's New York.
I tried to
Still on
find
the
facts
heels.
about 2006, and I couldn't. But in 2014, there was research conducted that it's actually only 1 rat per 4 people. But
comforting.
apparently, in New York, if you have rat problems, you're supposed to dial 311.
Isn't it?
Did you ever dial 311?
No, definitely
Did
not.
you ever see a Rat King?
Well, you saw, not Rat King, but you
Which
saw
is a
them.
real thing.
You were in, Kimmie, you were in New York recently.
For one day.
And did you go to the subways a lot?
We only used the subway about once. We did a couple times, yeah, because you had to take it to get to Hamilton.
What?
Yes.
This is now becoming a Hamilton podcast from this moment on.
Yes.
No, I'm kidding.
No,
No,
if you go into the subway, you just see giant rats all the time.
I have seen the rats. They're actually right. I have seen rats in the
Like
subway.
RUSs.
You get really
They are like, are you
sensitized to it. You really do. So it's not a big deal anymore.
I mean, you see rats in LA. I saw a rat fall on a guy outside of a bar. It was really funny. I've never seen a grown man like cry more. He was so upset.
He was he was pursuing the man out of the bar.
No, what it was is the man was staying between like a wall and a tree, and the rat was like, "This is the fastest way to this tree." He jumped on him and jumped to the tree, and I've watched a grown ass man get so upset. It was so funny. But wait, the Rat King is real? I did not think that would be real.
So Rat King is a thing. Mostly it's a phenomenon in Germany.
There's no way it's real.
Wikipedia.
I think it's real, or else it wouldn't be a thing.
How would they mold together into one thing?
I don't know if it's real as in they literally mold together, but at least like the tail's getting caught and they are stuck together basically.
I just can't.
Like, have you ever tried brushing your hair?
We had to edit the part where Kimmie threw up.
I'm actually not that grossed out by rats in the way other people are. I don't like them. I'm not like a pro rat person. I have friends with
Does
rats.
Does anyone like rats?
I have a friend who has a lot of rats, and he loves them, and
As
they're
pets?
very cute. They're pets, yeah. And they have personalities, and he adores them. I'm just not. I'm not into them. I don't judge him.
It says, a rat king is a term for a number of rats whose tails are intertwined and bound together by one of several possible mechanisms, such as entangling material like hair or sticky substances like sap.
Oh, I shouldn't have Googled that. I might actually throw up. There's definitely a cluster of dead rats that their tails are tied together.
While we're here, we should also Google lip cancer. You want to pull that up too? Okay.
I don't want to do
This has been a fun podcast.
I literally started to type it in. I went, oh, you're just, never mind. Nope.
Thank you for being so game.
We're pretty game
Lip
as people.
cancer. This won't be gross at all.
Okay, well, I want to talk about the fact that Brian Stack walks in. So Brian Stack is Howard Jorgensen.
You took my factoid.
Wait, you know
I
Brian
was going to
Stack?
be like, did you know a former Conan writer, current Colbert writer, Brian Stack?
Is he ready for? Okay, Brian Stack was at a UCB show I went to, and he was standing next to me, and people who knew him were talking to him, and he was talking about the good old days of like Chicago improv with Amy and Tina. And I looked at my friend and like, pretend to talk to me so I can listen to this.
Yes.
And I eavesdropped for like 10 minutes, and he was like, Tina was very shy, but she'd get on stage and be really excited. And I was just like, this is such inside information.
Yes.
So if Brian Stack's listening, I'm sorry I eavesdropped, but it was too good.
Brian Stack, who at the time was a Conan writer, and if you watched Late Night with Conan, which we'll talk about for the next
we'll
episode,
get there. Yeah.
Yeah, great guy.
Oh, he's
And Adam
wonderful.
McKay was in his wedding, director of The Big Short and my favorite director.
How do you know that?
I saw it on Twitter the other day. I follow him on Twitter.
That's what Twitter does. It gives you insight into people's lives. No, he's wonderful. And he's the narrator for the Thrilling Adventure Hour, one of my other favorite podcasts.
I was just talking about that podcast yesterday.
Oh my gosh, I forgot your Have you listened to the Thrilling Adventure Hour?
We went and saw it together.
No, you have. I'm talking to Will.
Oh, sorry.
No, I
weren't
have
here.
not.
No, I wasn't here. I was in India when you guys did
India.
that without me.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful podcast. You should listen to it. I'll tell you about
It's in
it
the
at
South.
another
You've
time.
already
Old-time
told me
radio.
you'll send me podcasts.
I'll be sending you Thrilling Adventure Hour. No, but Brian Stack, I love that bit. He goes, I'm married. I have 2 kids and a pool. How does he have a pool in New York? Do people have pools?
Not in
no.
the city, but he probably lives in the suburbs.
Probably lives in Yonkers.
Yeah, exactly.
He would live in
Has it
Yonkers. He's
made,
so
yeah.
nice.
Yeah, very corporate.
Who is Kenneth talking about when he's giving the tour and he says a former call girl that went on to be one of
I wanted to ask
I
you
thought that
that.
was just a gag. I literally thought
It probably
Really?
was a
Okay.
gag, but I was
think that-
hoping it was like a joke about. I'm not going to
like
even
Katie
name
Couric or
names. Like a
something. Like
Katie
just some
Couric
random,
joke.
like some female news anchor. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I had an answer for that.
It was a great
I don't
gag.
know. It was, and I like the way they edited it so it just gets the tail end of it. It's
Yeah.
not like they do the joke and set up.
It makes you want to know what else was being said.
Exactly. No, they do really get this show has so many jokes per minute. I know we'll talk about that every episode, but the amount of gags they throw in to this show blows my mind. Particularly for a not cartoon. Cartoons I'm used to having like being gag. I'm not going to say gag again, but there's so many jokes in like cartoons and stuff because of the nature of it. You can just throw them in. But I'm just so impressed with how many jokes this show can throw in a minute.
She, because I'm a big fan of Kimmy Schmidt, which.
Thank you for pointing at me.
I'm a big fan of Kimmy Lucas.
Fight.
Yeah, but I was just going to say Tina Fey, and I think she's one of the greatest writers ever.
Yes.
I didn't mean to get really intense when I
No,
said
please.
that. I started
We
crying.
take Tina Fey very seriously. Calm
damp
down.
parts on my body.
I was going to say I have
sorry.
some tissues right now.
Yeah, she's one of the best writers ever. Sometimes she is very cartoony in her style, and I love cartoons.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing. But sometimes her live action cartooning, I'm like, whoa! It's like a little bit uncanny valley the way she merges live action and cartoony timing.
No, I think that's a really accurate description of what she does. And that's how she grows her characters in this show. They all start off from, I think, other than Tracy actually, they all start from a very real place. And as the show progresses, the absurdities just grow on each other. And they're never afraid to do that. And she always has a goal, particularly for Liz, where she wants to get that character. But she's never afraid to expand them in absurdity and build on the world. Because they're always very aware when, we've talked about this a couple times, she establishes rules within the characters. And we'll get it, like Sue gets some stuff added to her as a character that wasn't there before, and all of a sudden, like, okay, this is an attribute of who you are, and they build on it and they never forget it, which I really, particularly about halfway through the season, they start world building in a really beautiful way.
Yeah.
And we see that a lot with this show, which I really enjoy.
Let's go back to Jack Welch.
Jack
I'm just kidding.
Welch.
I can do that. So far in this, I've never related more to Liz Lemon than when she tries to run into the elevator to hide from Jack. I do that all the time at work. Like when I
Kelsey, who you running from?
just
What an unhealthy work environment you live in.
it's mostly in the parking structure when I'm like walking from my car to go inside. That like I'll see somebody walking and you'll sit there and go, okay, I could wait, but I don't want you to like run in real quick and hit close because you just don't want to deal with people in the elevator. And I related to her very much.
It's because the show captures the experience of the female at work.
It's so true.
It represents, because we're gonna make it after all.
Mary Tyler Moore.
Thank you. Thank
For
you.
those of you who are under the age of 60.
I like that when Dennis comes in to give Liz a salamander, because that's the way to everyone.
If anyone sees a salamander, it's Liz's.
Don't salamanders need water? He brought it in a shoebox.
Yeah, salamanders are wet.
That's what I thought. So okay, but I like that at one point that I can't remember if it's Jack. I think Jack says it, or no, it's Dennis. He says technology is cyclical, and I literally said that line yesterday to somebody at work. Or no, it's Thursday. I said it, and then I went, "Why?
Why did you say that? It's not true. That's the whole point."
I was teasing them because we found some old we found a bunch of floppy disks. We found some Windows 2000 server things or whatever, and someone was like, "You're gonna want to save this." I'm like, "Yes, because technology is cyclical."
Wait, you found floppy disks?
Oh yeah. Using this coasters sometimes.
Lord.
We're remodeling and so we find all this old, like QuickBooks before there was a versioning of it. Like
You use them that is such a delightfully hipster Silver Lake thing to do.
Like, our system is built on floppy disks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we should start a bar.
They bought their floppy disks from like wherever Urban Outfitters. Mine were actual legit floppy disks.
Oh, she's
their floppy disks were $30. Mine were.
We're gonna start a bar in Silver Lake called Silicon Valley, and we'll use floppy disks as the
Stop it! This is like coasters.
Someone's gonna
I like that.
Someone's gonna steal this.
Copyright. Talk 30 to me.
Talk 30 to me. No, wait. I have something I want to say about the salamander. Did you know the salamander within literature and culture is an image of immortality and rebirth?
Because their tails can.
No, it will also. It's partly the eating their tail, but it's actually because in salamanders and like a lot of European countries, they hide in logs. Well, if you were like a person who wanted a fire, you go get logs from outside and you put them in the fire, and then salamanders would burst out from flames, and so they thought they were immortal, that they could survive fire and all these things. But it was actually just
Supermander. Like.
Exactly.
Supermander.
That was the best thing you've ever said ever.
Supermander.
So my theory was this some very thoughtful, like, was he saying something about the nature of the relationship that it's immortal? I'm stretching right now. This was supposed to be more of a joke than not.
Dennis is really deep.
I know he's so deep. Or maybe it was the show writer saying something about Liz being immortal. Maybe something about immortality.
Ooh, an immortality theme in this show.
Oh, what? I can't say anymore. But no, there's absolutely nothing like that. I just like salamanders.
Can we talk about Tracy's tattoo?
Yes.
I like that the tattoo he gets on his face is a biblical dragon from outer space.
In the book of Revelation,
I'm like, where in the Bible?
there are some of these elements.
It's fair. It's where he's getting it.
Oh, I love later where, because they think it's this real tattoo, and then he falls asleep and it's on the pillow, and he goes, "Where's my Sharpie?" So he can start drawing it back on his face, and he grabs a Crayola marker.
He does grab a Crayola marker, which does work. Also, there's that great, but he doesn't want to be like Wayne Brady. That's his fear.
Yes. Which, okay, so I looked that up. So he goes, "You take away my street cred, you're left with Wayne Brady." And Liz says, "Nuh-uh. Wayne Brady has 3 Emmys. You have a People's Choice Award that you stole from Wayne Brady." And in 2006,
such a good joke.
Wayne Brady had won 3 Emmys, 1 primetime and 2 daytime. And since then, he's won 1 more daytime in 2014.
So he did have 3 enemies.
Enemies?
3 enemies.
You're one
Just
of them.
3.
We haven't talked about that yet.
Yeah, because I had mentioned to you earlier that the number was wrong. The number is wrong on the IMDb facts. Someone put it on there saying he had 4 enemies. And now,
now you're doing it.
I'm going to say seeing enemies next. But yeah, so he at the time he did have 3, but someone on IMDb gave the wrong information there.
That's fair. Well, I just like it too because Wayne Brady shows up in a couple episodes.
Yes.
It's like really soon he becomes on not as Wayne Brady.
Yes.
That's the joy of this show. Like just the surrealness makes no sense. So they talk about someone and then that person comes on not as himself.
Yes.
Which is
That's
wonderful.
like like on Friends, they do that same thing where I was listening to something the other day and they're talking about how they talk all the time about Die Hard and they love Die Hard. And then Bruce Willis shows up as a character on the show and the guys don't ever go, doesn't he look like the guy from Die Hard? Like, it's just Bruce Willis. And like, you guys love this movie and Bruce Willis is
It's interesting. It's an interesting line in like the reality of these shows when you exist in a universe that's slightly alternative, but not.
Yes.
Yeah, these two, the Friends and 30 Rock are connected, right? Because Robert Carlock is an ex-Friends writer.
Yes, Robert Carlock. And they get a bunch of the Friends people. I think they get 2 of the Friends people on the show.
They get Jennifer Aniston and Lisa Kudrow.
And Lisa, 3.
Oh, and Ross, yeah.
And
David Schwimmer.
David Schwimmer. So they do have a good connection with Friends. Just dropped my glass.
Another, because we were talking about Wayne Brady appearing, and then later on, like Tracy in the sketch, he's Condoleezza Rice, and Condoleezza Rice comes on later too.
Oh yeah.
They make a horrible like racist joke about her where he's like, I dated her, but she shouted during all the movies.
I know, it's the greatest joke. Can you please tell me who August Wilson is? What was the context for this joke again? I can't remember.
I can't remember what the context of it was.
Oh, he'd had an August Wilson impression, and she's like, we should have made sure he knew who August Wilson was.
Yeah,
who's
he was
August
a
Wilson?
Playwright.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the artist. He's a
The depth of
20th
this
century
joke.
writer and playwright, whose work included a series of 10 plays, The Pittsburgh Cycle, and he received 2 Pulitzer Prizes for drama.
That is an obscure reference.
Yeah.
Very obscure, but it's very New York, I feel like, with
each
theater.
is set in a different decade, depicting the comic and tragic aspects of the African American experience in the 20th century. But yeah, so that was just kind of a...
They worked really hard to throw that one.
They did a great job.
Yeah. I love references like that.
Well, you
Yes.
have to figure it out. Yeah.
But at parties, it's not.
No, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
So this episode aired a year after August Wilson died.
Oh, so he
I'm
was in
wondering-
the
He
the
never
zeitgeist.
lived to see his relevance actually come to fruition.
Yeah, he died from liver cancer.
Kelsey.
Well, anyway.
It looks like.
So much information. Well, I knew you would do your August Wilson research, though.
I'm like, we got that.
This episode's great. It's not my favorite episode. I think it's a solid one.
You know what we
but
didn't
it sets
talk
up
about
something great. What did
was
we not talk
another
about?
funny thing, the James Blunt joke.
Yes, the James Blunt joke was so topical at the time.
Because like they're all those poor, like those actors just had a rough episode in general, and they're all just out there horrible. And then the power goes out to save, or they're trying to figure out how can we save the show. Like, well, can we have the musical guests do another song? Like James Blunt, no, not happening. And then the power goes out and saves the day.
Has anything happened to James Blunt since You're Beautiful?
I don't think so.
Have you heard of James Blunt since? I haven't.
No, but it brought back memories to hear the reference.
Yeah, it was great. I remember those days.
Take it back to high school.
I know. Yeah.
There were 2 Frank hats in this episode.
Oh yeah, let's talk about Frank's hats. I didn't write them down. I forgot.
Ninja
this time.
Expert and Joystick Master.
We are just repeating. Joystick Master's new,
Joystick Master.
but Ninja Expert we've had since episode 1. I
Yeah.
thought there were new hats every episode, and I am learning that I was sorely wrong on that.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite line from this episode at all?
I think it's definitely, does he know you are the Beeper King?
I like that one. I also like, I wouldn't expect a white woman from Whiteville to understand street cred. I'm from Whitehaven.
And it wasn't as nice as it sounds.
Sounded.
How about you, Will? Do you have a favorite line?
My favorite, honestly, are the silent moments. So the one where she pulls the headphones out when she's singing. Ooh. And then the other one is when Jack gives the perfect 10 sign about Dennis.
Negative space. I like
Yeah,
it.
I know it's not a line, but that's
That's
my favorite part.
That's a great answer. Well, this is, did you have anything else?
The only other thing is that I had to look up what sport the Islanders play. At the end when Liz gets back
Hockey.
to the house, I had no idea.
Oh, because she talks about how much she loves hockey earlier in the episode.
Oh, see,
and he's
there's a
wearing a
good
hockey
connection.
mitt.
Okay. I was all Islanders. Who are you? I don't know what I thought.
You got there. I don't know why I was so condescending about
I'm
that.
like, hello. I'm a big sports fan, so
I know,
it's
you're pretty
surprising I didn't know
athletic.
that. Yeah, that's
You're
my
pretty
favorite.
sporty.
The aggressive tension between these two drives.
Sorry, this is really
Very
uncomfortable.
unhealthy between the takes.
Our next episode for today's episode of our podcast is my favorite episode.
This is probably in my top 5 episodes of 30 Rock ever.
Whenever Tracy Does Conan. Let's just talk about it real quick.
So
air date was December 7th, 1941. Sorry, 2006.
Did you just say it was the day of Pearl Harbor?
date?
A day that lives in infamy?
By the way, we're the last generation to know that date.
I know.
Okay,
I heard that.
So, true story.
Joking, but okay, maybe that's real.
Someone said that to me
when
once.
because I was like a marching band nerd, my field show my sophomore year of high school was Pearl Harbor, and the beginning of our field show started with the recording of yesterday, December 7th, 1941. Like, I heard that my entire sophomore year of high school, the first semester of it, and then we got to go to Hawaii for the 65th anniversary, and we had like our own Pearl Harbor survivor. His name was Hutch, and he was awesome, and then he died. It was really sad. And then we had another Pearl Harbor survivor, because all the Pearl Harbor survivors are dying because it's been so long since then that they like made the 65th anniversary a really big deal because they didn't know how many of them would be around for the 75th.
Why are all of our stories so bleak today?
It's because it's a gloomy, cloudy, depressing day.
It's not depressing. It's beautiful. This is Seattle weather.
I
love
don't
it.
live in Seattle.
But Tracy Does Conan. Who wrote it? Who directed it?
Well, director was Adam Bernstein, which he did the pilot and the aftermath. Bernstein. I can't remember if we decided how to pronounce that.
Racist.
He did the pilot and the aftermath. Have you heard the whole thing about the Bernstein Bears?
I don't even want to go into that. It terrifies.
What is it called? The
Bernstein
Mandela.
Bears.
It's called the Mandela effect. Attention, listeners, if you want to be creeped out, go Google the Mandela effect and look at that crazy woman's blog about it.
Oh man, I gotta check that out. I know the Bernstein Bears thing for another time.
It's too deep.
We'll go into it the episode Nelson Mandela shows up on.
Yeah, I'm trusting you two to talk about it when I.
Oh my goodness. And I think it was written, just by Tina Fey, based on IMDb. She was the only writer listed.
This is one of the best episodes of all time, so it doesn't surprise me. She's incredible.
Can we talk about the fact? So Kimmie and I have both gone to see Conan here, filmed.
He's so great.
Each 3 times.
Will has a big old crush on
big old man.
Conan.
Have you met
big
him?
old
Have you
man
met him?
crush?
Never
At all? No, okay. He's gone already.
Yeah, and at 30 Rock, I did the Late Night with Jimmy Fallon show.
Hence the
I just called
t-shirt.
that. It's not called that. It's called Late Night with Jimmy Fallon. But I really I love Jimmy Fallon. He's great. But I'm into comedy, and so Conan is king to me. And I always wanted to work Conan, but I never got to.
Can I tell you my biggest gripe about Conan? I mean, he's a great man.
Here we go.
Gripes about Conan.
This is the only I can say. I don't see his hair as red.
Okay.
I think he's dyed it lately, I bet.
No, she's complaining because she has red hair and he has orange hair. That's all it is. She's as a redhead, she's offended.
But even because I was looking, I
appreciate where you were going with that, but no,
I'm
she's
very
just griping because she's a redhead.
I'm a redhead snob. Is the problem that I have issues.
Can you
with.
see the look on my face right now?
Because I just remember seeing him in person, and then even with this episode, because on his show here, it's the outline of his hair and his beard. I'm like, that is orange, and you've got blonde hair. It looks blonde in person. I feel like
it's a marketing gimmick.
It's a strawberry.
It bothers me.
His hair is great.
I think he's funny and hilarious.
Why are you looking at the surface features? I'm just teasing you. It's
I'm not
fine.
versed in red hair. I'm much better with brunettes. I'm just going to step back.
It's better with brunettes. I speak fluent brunette. Mm-hmm.
I'm a redhead snob, but I think I'm allowed
that's
to be.
fine. Well, Conan
we're going extinct.
But can I say that show in its day, now not so much, but in its day, that show was the best thing on TV.
It was incredible.
And I watched it every night.
You were a diehard. I didn't get to watch it. I watched you have a 40-minute conversation with someone once about Conan.
I think what Tina Fey is to what Tina Fey is to a lot of young writers out there. I think Conan and David Letterman. I'm probably
those
are my
you're a product. You're
for the white male lineage.
It's okay. Conan's a really great one to follow. He's wonderful. I went to the Conan rally they had when it was the end of the Tonight Show, and they
Team
had
Coco.
I was Team Coco, and I went to the rally where everyone went and yelled. Me and my friend
Kimmie,
showed up.
I love you.
I love you too. Hiccup.
That was my hiccup.
That was the hiccup of the day. But I went and I yelled, and I missed him by 5 minutes because the traffic was bad. So he'd come out and he had waved at everyone cheering, and then he went inside, and I showed up right after that. And they were like, Conan bought his pizza. And I was like, I missed it. But then but my friend was at the final show, The Tonight Show, and you can see him in the corner. I know. We don't know how he got those tickets.
That ending.
It was very beautiful with him just playing guitar.
Yeah, at the end with Will Ferrell.
I love Conan. But these are the old Conan days. This was the late night Conan O'Brien days, correct?
Yep, Studio
The New
6A.
York days, yeah.
Studio 6A. And I really love that he's on this. There was a season of Life where Conan went on a bunch of the NBC shows. Do you remember when he was on The Office? Remember, it was in the Michael Goes to New York episode, and Michael's like ready to see. He goes, "Oh, that's Tina Fey." And he runs up to her, and it's not. And then Conan just walks right by him, and he doesn't see him at all.
I forgot about that. I do like that one.
Yeah, no. And so Conan had this like season where he was really involved with a lot of the shows they filmed in New York, which I really, really appreciated.
He was like the young up and coming talent at that time.
Yeah.
He was like the voice of young people, you know.
Yeah, and that I think is the thing I miss the most. I don't know if TBS is... No, they're not softer because of what they're doing with Samantha Bee. I think I miss some of the weirder things he used to do. And he still does wonderful things. I love all his stuff he's doing in Cars and like running around with people. He's so funny now, but I miss the weird. I feel like it's not as weird anymore.
He's older.
That's fair.
People get older.
People get older. But do people get not weird when they get older?
I don't know. Letterman got pretty
We'll find out.
Well, let's just say this podcast episode is a love letter from me saying, Conan, like, if you want to be weird, like, you should be weird. I'm into it. I'm into it. I love
that can be taken in a lot of ways. Kimmie's making a face right now that's not settling me at all.
But this episode is amazing because it starts like a billion. I say that for every episode. I need to be a little more discerning. But I like this episode because it establishes a lot of things that continue in the show. The Roger.
Yes, which comes back later. Which
comes back a lot.
Favorite.
It's an incredible joke. And I don't even know what to say about it. I just love the Roger.
And I'm sad that we get to, there's a whole episode about that later on.
That's true. The episode called the Roger. I just always love how she like is guest pronouncing it. The Roger.
And that Jenna never once like, oh, let me pronounce that for you. You know what's funny is I'm sure I'll mention this again when we do the actual Roger episode.
It's a hard word to say. That's what's amazing. Hard. I struggle with it every time.
I always, and I don't know why I always associate with this. I struggled for years the difference between rotor, rooter, and router. Like those three words, I don't know why. I just did, and I'd be like, "Oh, I gotta reboot my router." No, wait, that's like router plumbing, and like, "Oh, my rotor on my car, not my like." For the longest time, and that's just what I associate the Roger with, because router, router, rotor.
Good job.
That was. I just had to share that.
I love you.
Yeah.
That was amazing. No, the Roger, I love her hair in that. It looks exactly like what they talk about later. It looks like a John Grisham novel. The way her hair is like in the wind, like it's a down home, the Roger. But that's a great one. But I that sets up something for later. Also, can we talk about his ideal that Dennis, so at the beginning he's talking with Liz about perfect kid names. His ideal names are Shannon or Rick.
Right. Which Rick isn't even, like, it's always Richard, isn't it?
I don't, it's just like there's something, I can't even like peg why that was so funny to me.
It's a vibe thing.
It's a vibe, but it's so great.
That episode later on, the one of the Irish, St. Patrick's Day episodes. Oh no, Megan is the name they shout out the window. I thought they shouted Shannon.
No, it's Shannon or Rick. There's just those names are just so classic American. We're gonna give them good names,
right?
Oh man,
Shannon and Rick. Mm-hmm. Does softer water really help you shave better? Because he's like shaving in the kitchen.
Why would it be softer in one room than another? That's that's not.
Like, I didn't know that was a thing. Like, I know like there's like soft water and hard water.
If you're the only man in here, what is your experience?
I shaved this morning, and I got to say it's pretty even wherever you get it.
Probably not in the ocean. The ocean, you probably wouldn't want to do that.
If you can get it from an early 20th century cistern outside of somebody's farmhouse, that's traditionally the softest kind of water.
Kelsey, I like that. That's what caught you off guard. Because for me, I'm like, the joke is, how would water in one room be softer than in another room?
And I was just like, does that really make a difference?
You guys are fascinated by Dennis.
Dennis is one of my favorite characters.
He's just an overwhelmingly unlikable D-bag.
But he's lovable. He's really empathetic.
Because girls always like the bad guys because they can change them.
I think that's kind of it.
Okay.
And I'm a guy that's like, I see exactly what that kind of person is.
Oh, he's the worst.
He's going to hurt you.
I am that person, so I totally
You are Dennis Duffy. That's why that's actually why we invited you on these episodes. No, he's great. But what I love about the episode is the tone of this. It builds. It starts off, the music really plays in this too. Oh, the music in this episode. Jeff Richmond. The way it builds and like I think it sounds like there's a famous classical music Flight of the Valkyries where it just builds and it like circles like bumblebees, and it just builds the tension. And the show, it starts with like 4 different little plot lines and they compound on each other till the finale. It's literally like 4 things happening at once, which I just find it's just one of the best written TV episodes I think I've ever seen.
I love it.
It's so great. But we start off first Pete in that wig.
Yes. Which who is this leader of men?
It was a great joke.
That was a nice. I was thinking about. I thought about how nice of a touch that was, because in so much sitcom you have A plot and B plot, And the great thing about this show is they'll throw in like little Z thing that's just an element, and it doesn't have to be a huge plot line.
It doesn't. But at the same time, it builds him in that wig into that moment where then later he's
Moses
saving.
moment.
Yeah, where he
Yes.
gets, let him through. And then, of course, them running, and Kenneth can't let go of his hand because Kenneth is so wowed by his masculinity.
Well, but I never noticed that before until I was rewatching it whenever I watched it yesterday or something. But as they're running, he keeps grabbing his hand and Pete's like, stop it.
Stop it. Stop it.
Let go of me. Let go of me. Did you look up who, I probably was.
No, I didn't, Kelsey. We're going to assume I did not look it up. Who?
I didn't know who Stone Phillips was.
Wasn't he a Fox News anchor?
I think
it's
so.
a Stone Phillips wig. Yeah, and he was a news anchor, and he was a co-host of Dateline.
Oh, not Fox News. Never mind.
Yeah, a television reporter.
That makes sense. That's a very classic, like, 1950s American male type of hair that Pete gets to wear. And that's the kind of masculinity he's accessing.
I love Donaghy's encouragement of him. It's so genuine, and he sells it so well.
I know. Where is your charisma? Who is this leader of men?
He's like, pull my hair. No, I'm not like you.
It's real. It's real, though.
But the way he kind of walks in and says, I know you're wearing it as a joke, but you look confident.
Yeah. Your Alec Baldwin is pretty good, though.
I know. It was a really good voice. Well, Alec Baldwin hits me. Not Alec Baldwin. Jack Donaghy has this like Ernest Hemingway-esque like type of masculinity where it's like, you're a man. You do these things. And it really pops up in this episode, like the testosterone and with the two of them at some points. Particularly because Pete doesn't get to be manly. Pete is whipped and beaten, which is just a sign of how wonderful Scott Adds it is. Because I was shocked when I saw him in person. I'm like, you were not Pete.
Have you guys seen him do improv before live?
I've never seen him do improv. I saw him do a show.
He and Lutz used to do a Wednesday night show at UCB. And because I went to college in New York.
That sigh is me being upset I don't live in New York.
Sorry, yeah. This is just want to make Kimmie jealous.
Wonderful.
No,
you're succeeding.
But it was good. Like they would do amazing, you were really watching like masters at work when you watch those guys improv.
He's so good. He was on a science podcast we did at the Nerd Melt called You're the Expert, where they figure out stuff about this like octopus expert, and it was wonderful. But he was so funny. But yeah, didn't realize how pervasive that character of Pete was to me. That I was so shocked at how like confident and comfortable he was. Because I was just like, wait, where's his insecurity? Oh, that was a character. But he just acts that part really well.
I'd never heard of Bodie Miller before. He's on the cereal box that he's eating.
Yes.
So like this episode, what did I say, was in December. And so that would have been from the Winter Olympics because he was a skier. So that's a couple of months old. He was in the Olympics a bunch of times. But I guess there was a whole controversy over Bodie Miller. Because in an interview he did on 60 Minutes, he talked about how when he was skiing, he was wasted. And then there was a Nike ad campaign to tell people to join Bodie. And one of the writers at the Washington Post wrote something and was like, join Bodie where? At the bar?
Oh, burn.
But yeah, that's Bodie Miller right
These
there.
are such topical jokes. I love them. We're nailing it. But I wanted to talk about, first of all, just every story that Tracy had trying to be normal. This is my chance to redeem myself with mainstream America.
Oh, right.
I was pooping in the ladies' room with the Ivy with Sharon Stone. Is there a big club? And I wondered, because the Ivy is a huge club out here. I wasn't sure.
I tried to look it up and there were just
It's LA.
It's a big LA. It's like a really, because my roommate went there with her boss once and it was really, it's very fancy. She was like, George Clooney eats there all the time.
Yeah, it's like it's known for, I think that's
it's
what he
very
meant.
famous. I figured it was
There's
that
no
one.
New York.
There's no New York Ivy?
Not that I know
There we go.
of.
We talk about the LA Ivy.
I typed in Ivy
Pretty iconic.
and
It's very iconic.
Glen Ivy Hot Springs. I'm like, I don't think that's what he's talking about.
I was in a mud bath at Glen Ivy. I was pooping in the mud bath.
That wasn't
We also get mind grapes this episode.
Yes, we get, which I didn't realize. I should have rewatched it one more time. That Jack Donaghy says mind grapes and then Tracy says it, but
it's another time where they're on the same kind of wavelength.
Scene, I thought he says it directly in the next scene.
Exact scene. But I always thought that he got it from Tracy. So I guess you're supposed to assume that Tracy has said it another time.
No, Kelsey,
Isn't
we
the
go
point
through
is
this
that
every
they're on the
time.
same? That's just the joke.
Every time.
This happens every time, Will. So Kelsey is always like, the logic of this is that Tracy must say this every time. Every time I'm doing, I'm like, it's a surreal show. The abstractness speaks to the fact that they all make the same jokes and it's not a real world. But Kelsey's always like, well, the logic of it is that Tracy must be saying this before. We have such different fan theories about this show, and I love it because that's the way we always approach it. We were once talking. Oh, I won't even.
There was some. Yeah, one of the first episodes we did the same thing.
We had this exact same argument because this happens in the first episode where Jack says something. Oh, they say mind grapes in the first episode. Well,
what's on my mind? Yeah,
No. What is he saying at the bar where he says, "Oh no, the triple heat." I'm the triple heat.
Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, because of
It's a whole thing. I'll cut all this out, but it's a whole thing, and it's really funny to me because Kelsey and I always have very different theories.
So differently.
Yeah, Kelsey and I have very different theories about 30 Rock abstractness, surrealness, or actuality.
One thing I didn't understand was when Conan and Jack Donaghy are in the studio at the
Black
beginning.
Irish
What does that
He calls
mean?
him a Black Irish bastard.
I couldn't
It's an
Because
Irish
Conan is
person with dark
Irish.
hair.
Oh.
So that's why he's like, back at you, Red.
Yeah.
And then they do that like they lean in and then part.
Now it makes sense.
Yeah, no.
I couldn't figure out what the black was coming from.
You think of like skin color.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Are you calling Alec Baldwin black?
I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's their Black Irish is Irish dark hair.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure.
I'm okay with that. I can get on board.
I'm
with
okay
that.
with it.
Good
I
idea.
allow it. I allow it.
One of when Liz is talking with Jenna and Jenna's getting called to the stage. Did you ever hear what the skit was she was getting called to the stage for?
No, you have your closed captioning. What was
Rodney Stink confirmed bachelor. Jenna to the stage for Rodney Stink confirmed
These
bachelor.
are all like SNL, very SNL.
Oh, so much from her experience. Yeah.
We used to.
Sorry, go.
We used to do the dress rehearsals at SNL as pages. They would do it.
Yeah.
They do like a full dress rehearsal of the show.
A lot of skits get cut at the dress, right?
And then they cut skits after the dress, and so there are sketches like that. Rodney Stink confirmed bachelor, and there are some that come back again and again and never make it into the show because the audience just doesn't buy it.
That's my favorite thing they do at late night with Seth Meyers is they bring back a lot of those sketches that got cut at dress or those ones that never made it, and they're often awful but so funny.
Yeah.
Andy Samberg has good ones whenever he's on there.
I like it. I was thinking the whole thing with the Verger, like going back to that, it reminded, and because he's like, what is the name of her show? I don't know. It's been so long now. I can't ask her. It reminds me on Friends when Chandler gets called Toby by.
Oh, it's too late for him to say
Yeah, that he can't. He's like, it's just been so long. I can't even do anything about it because sometimes it's awkward. You've known somebody for so long and you just like, well, we're just gonna embrace that this is weird, but we're never gonna address it.
No, I feel like there's a strong relationship. Like we obviously, like we talked about with it was Robert Carlock who also worked on Friends.
Yeah,
but
and Kimmy Schmidt, co-creator. Right there.
Exactly. Yeah. But I think there's a strong relationship also because Friends ended 2004. This started 2006. This Friends ended an era at NBC, and 30 Rock I think began another era. And I find that very interesting. I feel like they're like bookends of like kind of what NBC was doing in comedy because NBC took kind of a weird route right around because The Office is in between, but I feel like 30 Rock was the beginning of like them doing weird things, which I really enjoyed.
Unfortunately, and I'm not saying this is a joke, the success of the primetime lineup, like 30 Rock did not carry.
No, it didn't at all. It didn't at all.
Seinfeld probably really helped Friends too, if you think about it.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. No, 30 Rock did not. She talks about it a lot in the book about basically they were trying to make Viagra and they made heart medicine versus the other way around. Like she was trying to make a Cheers, but this show is so weird, but it's so unique. I mean, I don't know. I guess I like it.
I hate that the word that gets thrown out a ton, blood cookie. That is like the grossest visual because, like, again, I'm very literal right now.
It's gross. But then Frank takes a second bite. He says, "Ew, what?" and then immediately bites into it again.
And I was laughing because I was trying to figure out at first, like, why does Frank even eat? Like, it's Liz's cookie. What? But the way she comes into the room, she just tosses it on the table. It does look like she's just adding it to the communal stuff on the table. Like, why wouldn't you grab it? And then but the. What?
You think through the logic of every part of it.
I like that about you.
It's nice, right?
Dynamic.
It's so nice.
Kelsey's the administrative.
It's so nice.
I just picture just a blood cookie, and it just makes me want to throw up.
Yeah. Well, the manicness of this episode, I think, really builds. Oh wait, no. The thing I want to talk about is they're always just making. Jenna, I forgot her name immediately. Jenna so hick. She's a condo in Clearwater, Florida. Do you know what else is in Clearwater, Florida? Scientology.
Really?
Oh yeah, that big. I saw the documentary.
I watched Going Clear. I also read the New Yorker article when Paul, what's his face, came out. Yeah, no. So it's just such a great weird joke. Because first of all, do people actually vacation in Clearwater, Florida?
I think old people would. Like, I think I associate Florida, like having a home there, as an old person thing.
No, I just love it, like the hickness that they always give her, or like that kind of like that backcountry. I shouldn't say all this. This is all rude, but like they give her like a very country history,
though.
and that she's a condo in Clearwater, Florida, but also is Jenna a Scientologist? I think maybe it makes sense,
Tracy,
right?
who gets thrown out of like whatever the crazy her cabal. Oh no, because she prays to the Kabbalah monster.
Tracy gets
She does
thrown
pray
out of
to
a
the
religion.
I know. Starts his own, right? No, she does.
Sorry.
No, that's it.
He's sort of. I'm just going to apologize this whole time with it.
I love it.
He's sort of like a proto Kanye, and I don't say that.
Oh, okay, I can see that.
You know what I mean?
No, he's completely. We're gonna play a game later at some point in the show called "Did Kanye or Tracy say it?"
Kanye or
Yeah.
Tracy. Because if you
Oh,
read
I
some
didn't
of,
know that.
We're gonna when we get further in the show.
not today, but if you read some of Kanye's tweets, you read it and you could literally go, "Oh, Tracy. Oh, that was Kanye who actually said." It's so funny.
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous. He is a proto Kanye, which is crazy. Also, we've talked about it a couple times, but I still can't fully always tell the difference between Tracy Jordan, Tracy Morgan. Mm-hmm. The line is blurred slightly, and that was purposeful. He was playing into. I mean, he's not as ridiculous or stupid as Tracy. He's much more. He's really intelligent, but he is kooky.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think every actor on this show has a side of them that is that character, which is
Very
the
much so.
suit of the show.
Exactly. And I always find it really interesting. This happens on Kimmie Schmidt too, where they put up these incredibly talented people who are struggling, and then you find out that they do that thing in real life and they're super successful. Like Titus Burgess, who always is like the struggling Broadway. He's so talented, and he actually has done Broadway for years.
Yeah.
Same with Jane Krakowski. She's always kind of struggling with it.
Yeah.
And she's Tony nominated.
Carol Kane, one of my heroes right there. New York
She's
actress
so
from the 70s.
Wonderful.
She
on
really
Kimmie
is.
Schmidt.
Have you guys seen, I know we're derailing, have you seen Dog Day Afternoon?
No.
Carol Kane is in that movie.
kills it.
And she's like the mousy, they call her the squirrel because she's so mousy and afraid of the bank
how funny.
robbers.
She's so cute.
She's a great actress.
She's so, and she had a lot more screen time, I thought, this season.
In season 2 of
of
Kimmie Schmidt.
Kimmie Schmidt, which I really enjoyed.
She's my favorite character.
Yeah.
It's easy to love Titus the most, but I got to go with her because I just
She's
love
really
that
great.
old New York.
And exactly, and I loved her Robert Durst stuff. It was so good. Every time Fred Armisen just showed up, the black eyes.
So this is the first appearance of Dr. Spaceman.
That's what I was gonna say.
Dr. Spaceman.
Leo Spaceman.
Which, did
Jack's knowledge of him just immediately.
He's an excellent physician
and a pretty good dentist.
Do you know, I learned, so the name of the character, Dr. Leo Spaceman, has an alternate meaning. Leo, L-E-O, is the abbreviation for low Earth orbit, and the orbit maintained by the International Space Station and a retired space shuttle. So like Spaceman, the low Earth orbit spaceman.
I don't know what that means.
Well, because it's all space. Because like so his name's Leo Spaceman.
Well, it's a space joke, which intrigues me.
It's because like Leo.
Who was a fan of space that did this? I mean, there was later the astronaut, all the astronaut plot lines.
That's right.
Maybe Tina Fey is
Muppets.
secretly a huge space person,
Space nerd. I mean, it's not that far
like
from
a NASA fan.
Star
That's true,
Wars.
Star Wars.
Maybe Chris
Space.
Parnell needs work.
He is so wonderful on this. He's getting a lot. He's on Rick and Morty now, which I love.
Yeah,
he's so
just
wonderful on
kidding.
it. No, he doesn't actually work, but that reminded me of Rick and Morty.
There was another Star Wars thing here. You've got Chewbacca. Can I speak to Tracy? Yeah, so Tracy just goes bonkers in this episode because there's issues with his medication, which is just so funny and so sad, but so funny.
This episode, more than almost any other episode this season, I really wish I was in the room when this got pitched, because how the hell did Blue Man get created?
Which Rachel Dratch again.
Oh, I didn't know that was Rachel Dratch.
That's Rachel
I learned
Dratch.
something
She
today.
just got so into character
She's
that
in
you just
Blueface.
couldn't tell.
That
Okay.
takes some comic talent to get in and sell that role.
Just be a giant like bowling pin. Which is
That's what
basically-
it looks like.
She's
It's
a bowling
short and
pin.
stout. Yeah.
Yeah, Blue Man. I just don't understand where that came from. Like, what if he sees like a giant blue bowling pin that follows him around? It makes him upset. Like, what is that? How does that pitch go in the room? This isn't McSweeney's article, guys. I'm going to write it later. They already.
But also, I like when he's bugging out and he's actually actively in the corner of the room and then falls to the couch. Like
Another surreal moment, Kelsey.
oh man.
That was wonderful. I'm bugging out.
ATCQ. A Tribe Called Quest. Second track of the Low End Theory. Anyone? Okay.
What is this reference? Explain.
Someone out there gets it.
No, explain.
The album, The Low End Theory by A Tribe Called Quest. And there's just the second song is called Bugging Out. Oh, you said it. I thought you were referencing that.
I
great
wish
song.
I was that cool. I'm not. I told you I stopped listening to music in 2012. So, also we learned that Dennis loves Nickelback, which is just to add to his awfulness.
For the record, Nickelback was not on tour between September 12th, 2006 and September 11th, 2007.
Well, that ruined it.
And they won't on tour again until March of 09.
This last episode with Pat Benatar. It's great. We're really trying to explore the world here.
Dennis loves Nickelback.
He loves Nickelback.
And he was downloading a movie on her TV, which is why he couldn't do that. We get the great Jack Donaghy line in this episode.
Oh
it's
my
after
gosh.
6. What am I, a farmer?
It's one of the best lines. It's one of the best lines.
It's my sister's favorite line.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's
She's good
so
taste.
good. She has an excellent taste. What am I, a farmer? Oh my goodness. Again, just the way they portray capitalism in this show is just so absurd but yet loving, slightly loving.
He's spending the entire day. At one point, he's getting a manicure, a haircut. He's getting his tux on. I'm like, what are you doing all day?
That line always, I pair it with the other one where he calls pizza peasant food.
Yes.
Not in this episode.
Yes.
but
You were
in
talking about
another.
that last
My favorite
time, yeah.
episode, 3 episodes ago.
Yeah.
Like eating greasy peasant food.
It's like you live in New York and you call pizza peasant food.
Right.
Oh my gosh, just the bouginess of it. And I can't decide. There's a part of me that wonders, is this like an actually based off experience with really wealthy people? I've never been around wealthy people like you are in New York. Like the wealth is so close to the not wealth. I think people probably interact with more than here. All the rich people live in a very particular part of town, and I'm just never over there.
That's true.
So I don't know if this is based on like a sort of actual experience of wealth in New York, because I haven't dealt with it, or more so I feel like this is based off like Annie cartoons with her concept of what like wealth and being a billionaire is in Annie. That's my theory.
All right.
I think you're right about
I think
New
it's very
York.
Daddy
In
Warbucks.
New York, it's very like, it is mixed together. Everybody shares the same resources in New York, no matter how much money you have. So that's for sure. But I think this is also just like rich NBC executive. Like in television, isn't the joke that the people at the bottom, like Kenneth would never get paid enough to live, but Jack Donaghy gets all the more money.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
That's how I took it.
But so
Kenneth gets a lot of access to like the CEO of NBC.
he gets a lot of access. No, the way that they speak to Jack
gonna do
sometimes.
That's going to
fine.
happen for you. That
Yeah, that did not happen for me, unfortunately.
The way they speak to their higher ups, because the fear I have felt being in rooms with higher ups before, like the way that they interact with these people just absolutely blows my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a show, but still, it just cracks me up because I feel that like anxiety already building in my chest when I think about trying to talk back to the CEO.
Yeah, especially when you consider that Kenneth is the guy that lets an old woman go in front of him at the drugstore.
right?
In this episode.
He's all nervous that he's out of time, and he's like, after you.
He's the most wonderful human.
Yeah.
And excuse me, LaDonica, you have not been helpful.
LaDonica is such a great name.
It's a
I
beautiful
love that
name, and he just says it so grammatically correctly. LaDonica.
LaDonica. So should we talk about what happens when he actually finally gets to Conan? Because that's what this all. The reason why this is such a big deal is because he's on Conan. The last time he was on Conan, he
was
tried to
stabbing
stab
a robot.
him.
Yeah.
Which Conan is very good at doing the fake anger.
Yeah.
And that really sells this episode too.
It really, really does. He's wonderful in it. I also love this running joke that Liz and Conan dated.
Yes.
Let's
Which
not do
makes
this, Elizabeth.
sense.
How's your wife?
I love it.
Are you still? How's your wife?
He knows about the Beeper King. I think that's also he's in touch with who she's dating.
He's got somebody out
Exactly.
there.
like they
he's
just
been
got back
hearing.
together and he already knows.
He knows. Like, are you still that Bieber King? Mm-hmm. No, but that actually really didn't he did because Conan dated Lisa Kudrow for a while.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
So actually, it would really make sense. I ship Liz and Conan pretty fiercely.
Yeah. I love that when he says it, the moment is there. He delivers it so perfectly.
His comedic timing is gorgeous in this episode. He sells this one so hard.
Yeah, and he doesn't. I think another thing is he doesn't try to take center stage. He totally plays his role and lets the other characters shine, even though he's such a powerful force of nature.
He is a hurricane.
Yeah.
He's a human hurricane.
No string dancing in this episode.
No string dancing. I know, it's just a shame.
We have another Aubrey Plaza spotting in this episode.
Yes, a
Yes.
former Page.
I know. Was this during her page years or was she pretending to be a
No,
page?
she was an actress. But yeah, she's amazing. And when I saw her in this episode, it made me
It was
smile.
so much fun to see her
This
on
is
it.
the second time she's been on.
Did you hear her
think
story
so.
about Katie Couric?
No.
Well, okay, if anybody listening or you guys have ever been to 30 Rock, the elevator bank is like you push the floor you're going to and it tells you what elevator to go into. That's like how it works. And so Aubrey Plaza got into the elevator and Katie Couric rushed in without pushing a button. And so it took her up to whatever floor. And then Katie Couric said, "Oh my gosh, I forgot to push my number to go to my floor." And so Aubrey Plaza just looks at her and says, "Are you new here, miss?" Apparently Katie Couric was like really mad and she just froze for a minute, but then she said, "Oh, you're funny. You're very, very witty." Oh, I love that story. We're big Meredith Vieira fans here, though. I do want to make sure listeners know that.
Big Meredith Vieira fans. Really pro Mary.
I really liked her on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
That was so
It was good. I'm laughing on the inside.
That's what I go for. I go for inside laughs when I tell a joke.
I know. Was she on?
Yeah, she did the daytime version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire after Regis left.
That's true.
Or the nighttime, maybe. Because she did the we don't need to talk about this. Yes, she was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Well, I'll say this. This is the most energetic I've ever seen Aubrey Plaza in my entire life. Was her in that hallway. Conan O'Brien. Like, it was the most happy, except in that episode of Parks and Rec where she's with June Diane Raphael and she's pretending to be like very Valley girl.
Oh, that's right.
We're getting mani-pedis.
I forgot about it.
I have something for you, Kelsey, that to ruin everybody's image of this episode. As a Page, I will say this. Aubrey Plaza had a tour group on the 6th floor in the elevator bank while they were doing Conan, and we were never allowed to go on the floors when they were actually producing the shows. So
Really?
as on our Page tours, we're only allowed to go to studios that are quote-unquote dark.
That makes sense.
So
That makes a lot of sense.
Interesting.
Well, we
There's
can
a
see-
behind-the-scenes show ruiner for Kelsey.
Interesting.
No, that's perfect too, because I mean, think of the problems they would have avoided if Kenneth, if they hadn't have been there, Kenneth had to go through them, and then Pete had to show up and be like all Moses and part the ways and glow.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Whenever Jimmy Fallon was in the identical studio right next to Conan across the hall, and so they were doing the late night show whenever he had his baby. Remember his first baby?
Yeah.
And a couple of Pages got like fired for going up on the 6th floor and to see the baby.
Ooh, yeah, you can't do that. That's a line.
It's bad, yeah.
That's really bad. You know all the good like Page rumors and gossip.
Yeah,
It's pretty
shared
good.
that one.
If there's anything you want me to,
Beep. We're just gonna, but we'll keep it in, but just beep it out. So like,
and
it's
they'll
really
just hear us
juicy
going,
stuff.
oh.
The names were.
Social security number is.
So, well, they finally get Tracy on stage, which is wonderful. That I love watching Conan like try to grab it and then finally get him pull him down by the pants. Get him sitting.
And down.
Yeah, it gets up and it's down. But his dancing was
I
wonderful.
love his chicken. His
I know.
little chicken bob.
I know. And just that shot of Liz dancing,
like,
but it's going along. And then forcing those pills down his throat. He's just
I
spitting them
love
out.
watching that when they're just like,
Empty it. Oh my goodness.
That's the sound I make when I'm trying to force pills on someone's mouth.
And I just love the shared delusion that immediately Liz starts seeing the blue man.
Yeah.
It was really funny that they, I don't know, I just like shared delusions. I'm a big fan. I'm a really big fan of those. Makes sense. I don't know, the way this episode builds, the way that the Pete storyline interacts, the Pete storyline, the Jack storyline, the Liz and Tracy, and the Jenna, you're so beautiful. You look like, you're as funny as Lucille Ball. You're prettier than Deborah Messing.
Yeah.
How much that works. All of those storylines affect into this one coalescing moment. And I just think, I can't imagine writing that. It's just such a tour de force. The feels I get at the
I think
end.
you could do it, Kimmie.
You think I could do it? Will thinks I can do it. I'm a writer.
You are.
It happened now. We'll all look back at this moment.
Kelsey can produce you.
Yay! And she'll be my script supervisor.
Oh, yeah, I'll make
That's
sure
what I
you
need her
got
to
all
be.
your-
She will not let anything drop. She'll be like, this Pat Benatar joke, it is not accurate.
So, okay, speaking of me being crazy like that. So she says that The Rural Juror comes out December 18th, but the episode about The Rural Juror was aired on January 11th.
I don't know if that even counts.
That's so
Since
good.
when it airs doesn't really have anything to do
But
with
they
the
try a
timing
lot
of the
because
show.
they like film it in when they film like, the fall episodes were like there was like pumpkin stuff and it was like because it aired in October. Like when they film, they know mostly when it's going to be released. I feel like I don't know.
I
But
appreciate
maybe
it.
when we watch The Road Juror, she'll say it was released last month, and then I'll say it's okay.
She's doing all the press for it.
Yeah,
is what's
that's true. So it
happening.
might have been after.
It's really interesting. I like that this episode ends with that. First of all, of course, that Kenneth would think that he would want to be best friends with Zach Braff.
Right.
They're the most compatible, like cute, sweet,
but
nerdy
isn't-
white guys ever.
Am I thinking this wrong? Like I thought Jack McBrayer and Zach Braff actually were roommates at one point. I thought that was a thing.
Find this
Please
out.
Google this.
Get on
talking,
this.
and I'm pretty sure.
And then it's clog dancing. But I remember very much at the end of the Tonight Show, they always did this bit where Kenneth came on as the Page and gave tours of the stage.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is the former home of Conan's Tonight Show.
He got his start on late night though. Jack McBrayer. He did bit parts. He played stupid characters and.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
and he did
that's
Triumph,
true.
Triumph the dog, right? That was always
Yeah,
him.
exactly.
And that's
Robert
a Conan.
Schmeigel, who is by the way, everybody watched the election special on Hulu. It's amazing.
But I didn't realize he got started on Conan.
Yeah, Jack McBrayer. He was like a bit part actor, and then apparently, like after he started doing 30 Rock, he came back and did another stupid bit. And then Conan just said to him, like, "Aren't you above this now?"
He is. Now I'm just thinking about the moments of Conan I really enjoy. I just went off. No, I just love that moment of Kenneth on the stage with the tour group and Conan like arguing with him, like, no, why are you here? Yeah. And he was like, oh, this is the former stage.
Yeah.
Just rubbing salt into that deep wound.
I will say in this episode, episode 7, it was so cool to see the color scheme of the old late night stage with the blue and it was like it brought back good memories.
Yeah, it made you feel warm and fuzzy.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. It's nice to see it like in high def, like whatever.
Also, that stage is tiny. I always forget that the Late Show and like James Corden, those shows they get much smaller stages.
And can we use wide angle lenses? That's what we used to tell everybody on the tours. Wide angle lenses, they stretch everything out.
Oh, makes sense. Yeah. It's nice. Gives it a nice cozy feel. Also, it's New York. No room's big. Did you find this, Kelsey?
I can't find it, and it's bothering me. So I'm curious if I just mentally thought that because
you're like, that makes sense.
It sounds like a joke they would just throw out in the writing.
It definitely does, but that would have been very entertaining if it was an actual thing. Because couldn't you see them being roommates? Let's be real.
Amazing.
They have a similar nice, sweet white guy sensibilities in times on comedy shows.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Did you guys watch Jack and Triumph, the show?
No, I haven't.
I want to see it.
Don't drop your
I could see it not working, even though I love both those guys, but I'll watch it.
Well, it's hard to think. Triumph is it's grating. It's hard to think of it being its own thing. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's Triumph and
Jack McBrayer who does it. Yeah. Enjoyable, but I could take him in small doses. So I'd be curious to see how it works as a show.
He's an insult you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, my dad's hero is Triumph the dog.
I have that girly thing where I'm like, oh, they're being mean. I'm like, no, don't. These are normal people. It's like roasts. I can only watch it if I really dislike the person. Just not fair.
Did you watch the Justin Bieber roast?
No, I didn't watch it. Was it amazing? I've seen the Charlie Sheen.
The momentum. You killed the momentum because you brought him up.
Well, because you hate Charlie Sheen.
He's sick now, so now it's like we hate him, but it's like,
we have to feel bad for him.
Too soon. No, I'm not sad.
Not soon enough. I should have brought this up earlier.
Oh man, Kelsey, I don't have anything else. We talked about the stuff I'm passionate about.
The only thing I think was Frank only had one hat and it was Bigfoot expert. I don't think that
which was again a repeat. Man, new hats,
right?
Pete. Not Pete. I think I'm tired. I need to start.
We haven't brought up all of Jack Donaghy's great lines about Jack Welch that he wanted to start with.
Oh, all of his jokes.
All of his jokes.
I haven't seen this many white people in tuxedos since the Titanic. Because he squeezes the Swedish juice out of his workers' mind graves.
Yeah, I know we talked about mind graves, but he pitched a couple other ones that are just so incredibly lame.
I know.
And Liz is kind of just like, okay, go with that.
When I first met Jack Welch, I thought he was such a good golfer. He made Robert Darnell look like Randy Jones.
It's a great joke.
I really enjoy the one that she actually comes up with though that kills him, which is the I know what this room is excited for is estate tax reform. The belly laugh, the deep belly laugh.
Yeah. I just think that's funny because it really like accurately spoofs like the corporate culture at NBC.
And like, the corporate humor.
Comcast would be the same thing, like the good natured joke sucking up to your boss. That totally goes against what Liz Lemon is about, which is like real comedy and satire. So I thought that was actually a pretty clever part of the episode.
No, that's always been one of the strongest suits about this show is the way they satirize the corporate nature of it. And the way they make it warm. This show is impossibly warm most of the time. And they deal with very frustrating, upsetting things a lot of the time and like heartbreak.
Yeah.
Often in poor Liz Lemon's life. But it is perpetually a warm and loving show. And I can't quite figure out how they keep that tone. Yeah. It's a mystery to me. I'll figure it out one day.
I was thinking, for those of you who are interested, go on YouTube and look up David Letterman, the day GE bought NBC, and Letterman used to have the late night job on that network. And so he brought them like a fruit basket and got thrown out. And he literally didn't get the Tonight Show because he made fun of GE all the time. And it's funny because that started the whole movement of making fun of the corporate culture. But Tina Fey does it in a much more acceptable way that the network aired, and it's kind of funny
not quite the middle finger.
Exactly. It's funny to see like that juxtaposition.
Though I know they didn't like it at first. They were starting to get upset at the jokes, and that it just took Jeff Zucker being like, nope, they get to do what they want. Yeah. She does what she wants, and they gave her that freedom, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Because not everyone gets that.
True.
Right.
She carries a lot of respect, that lady.
Yeah, she does.
I did like that because at the very beginning, the first scene with the blood cookie, there are 2 other times in the episode where she goes to eat food and can't. Because there's when she goes into Tracy's room and there's like a tray of cookies, and one's like, oh, he licked all of those.
They look licked too. Did you look at them? Like they made some poor intern on the show lick every cookie because they are all smudged and melted.
And then later she's running like through the elevator bay, and somebody goes past with
intern. Come on,
with deli meats or something, and she like turns around and stops and looks, and
she does love a good deli meat. That Liz Lemon.
Yeah, and then she gets so hungry she falls asleep while eating a hamburger.
I know, which then Dennis just eats.
Yeah.
The world is perpetually against poor Liz Lemon.
I'm just going to play Halo.
It's great that like he doesn't care about Liz at all. That's like what I found most funny. It's like she's just there.
Well, I think we covered everything I wanted to talk about. If you didn't have anything else, we can do 30-30.
That's what I was saying. We haven't done 33.
We went out of order. We normally have a 30 Rock. It's called 30-30. It's our 30 Rock news segment.
It's kind of like
that'll go quick,
2020,
and then we're all done.
but it's 30-30.
Yeah, so...
Alec Baldwin used some homophobic slurs to the cameraman
Again.
outside his house.
Wait, really?
No.
Oh, gosh. I got really
That was
worried.
the joke part.
He got kicked off of a plane for playing Words with
Did it
Friends.
happen once upon a time.
Your face is so sincere. I got nervous. Well, okay, I'll go first. Hulu is running these really weird ads. It's either Hulu. No, I haven't even noticed whose ads these are because I got so distracted. They recreated 30 Rock for these ads, basically saying streaming. So they're pretending like you're watching a 30 Rock episode, but the streaming's bad and bad. And Jenna's face is all out of proportion.
Oh, funny.
And she runs off and upset. But Kenneth, Frank, and Jenna are all there. And it's like a recreation of 30 Rock. What?
Is it the real actors or is the blurring?
It's all the real actors. It's everyone. They just put the three of them and they put them on a green. I think they put them on a green screen and then like projected the big
The
hallway
set
set. But it's them talking, trying to get there. But then they're going weird. Like, oh no, this is just bad quality. Because Jenna's like, what's happening? And then she runs off like, I look, I'm like a monster, and runs away. And Kenneth looks very worried, and Frank's laughing. But at this moment, I was like, wait, 30 Rock? What is this? They got the gang back together.
How weird.
So weird as commercial. And you can't. It bothers me because of the whole thing is it's streaming badly. But you can't see it. And there's a part of me that's like, I just want to see them.
Right,
They're all in the room
right.
together again. It's really weird.
I can sense it.
Yeah.
That's how I always feel. They do a lot of, they've done a couple of like West Wing. They get them all together recently. And you're like,
Oh, I think I saw that.
I love just
It's
watching
such a
them.
gratifying feeling when you see a reunion of your favorite show.
It's wonderful.
It's a very
Like,
gratifying
I don't need a full episode. Like, I just want, like, just seeing them all together. Like, oh, they like each other. Like, when they post a picture on Snapchat or Twitter or something, you're like, oh.
Yeah. And I like that they pay attention to the fact that show is really loved. You're right. It didn't get the ratings that maybe some other shows. I think when it premiered in Germany, it got a 0. But she talks about it on
Why would
Letterman.
they care about it?
I know. There's a lot of German
It's a
on
very
the show.
American
There's-
show.
but there's
It's a very
ton of
American
German
show,
on
but
the
there's a lot of German on the show. So we were all hoping it would do better. I know. But I really like the fact that they're like, oh, there are enough fans for this that we're going to do a commercial with all the original cast like it's a part of the show.
Yeah.
I just love the idea that there's enough fandom to keep these things going.
I'm a fan of it, too.
So that was my 30-30. What's yours?
Okay. So last Friday, we're letting people know when we filmed this or filmed what we're doing. We're recording this. I went to the Hollywood Bowl and I saw The Little Mermaid, and Titus was there, and he was Sebastian. Which, if this is the first time you're watching 30 Rock, you don't know who Titus is yet. What's his last name's Titus Burgess. In the show, he ends up coming up later, and he's one of Tracy's wife's friends, and he's on Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt as Titus. But
Yeah, I didn't realize how like disconnected, but
I know, I was like,
this is.
but he, oh my gosh, it was so fun. Like the whole entire thing, everybody. Like, John Stamos played Chef Louis, which was just amazing, and they had Alan Menken was there, which was like the original songwriter for The Little
Like a
Mermaid.
live action thing?
Oh my gosh!
Oh, it was at the Hollywood Bowl.
So cool. So the way it was, oh my gosh, it was the coolest thing. So now I can really talk about it. So I assume everybody knows exactly what happened. So it was at the Hollywood Bowl, and they had the movie was playing on all of the screens. There was a live orchestra doing the music for it, and then anytime it was a song, somebody came out to sing the part. So like Sarah Bareilles, I can never pronounce her name right. Okay. She was Ariel. John Stamos was Chef Louis. The dude from Glee was Prince Eric. Darren Criss, I think his name is. Mm-hmm. He was him. There was a little kid from Broadway. He was Flounder. John Stamos.
Just keep saying John Stamos over and over. And then John Stamos.
And then
Rebel Wilson.
Rebel Wilson was Ursula.
I would have watched Oprah.
Oprah comes out as, but
She would have owned it too.
Everybody would have applauded, and the movie would have had to be paused.
I know. Well, they'd all hope she'd give him a car.
Well, it was so they came, and the first time everybody came out, they stopped the movie in the orchestra and introduced them, and they came out and started going. But there were 4 songs in it that aren't from the movie; they're from the Broadway show. And so when that happened, the orchestra would sing, the orchestra would play, and the people would sing, and then they'd have pictures flashing on the screens of like the sketches from the movie and all that stuff, which was really, really cool. And then at the end of everything, this is going away from Titus a little bit, but everything, credits rolled and everything, and then they brought out Jodie Benson, who was the voice of Ariel, and she sang Part of Your World.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, it was cool. And then I think on the Monday night...
What were you going to say?
What were you going to say?
She coughed because she has lung problems now.
Too dark.
She like cried.
If I were Rebel Wilson, I'd be like, F you for asking me to be Ursula. Why did you pick me?
I thought you wanted me to be Ariel.
She was in a dress that like, oh my gosh, her boobs look so big. Like it was just like all of the outfits they were wearing. Sorry.
Like, is the body tight? Sorry, I'm not.
It was a little body
disrespectful.
personality. She seemed to have like you either get a skinny person or you get a fat person, but either way, like you're a skinny person, you're like, what, you're calling me Ursula, and you get a bigger person, and you're like, well, I'm Ursula. Like I don't
I think it's about the voice talent. I'm being progressive here. I think it's about the voice talent.
She did a really, really, really good job. They all did phenomenally. Like it was just really cool.
But Kimmie, can you picture like Rebel Wilson doing just like the voice, like, I'm gonna take you down. Sign your soul away. Like, I don't know if it works.
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking I really want your voice. So, this is awkward. My boys, though, they're going to take it. Yeah, no, I just watched How to Be Single, and she nails that movie.
Oh, is that movie good?
You know what? Here's okay.
Have a
Here's
crush
my
on
thing.
Dakota.
I mean, she's beautiful. Let's
She
be
is,
real.
yeah.
None of the things that happen in the movie make sense. Like the actions, like someone will do something, then someone will respond to it. I'm like, that wouldn't happen. But where it ends up, what happens with all the characters and their journeys make total sense, and I really liked it. But every now and then there'd be an interaction, and I'm like, that would not lead to that. That would not lead to that at all. What? Huh? And then I'd be
You're
like,
like
oh,
Kelsey when
amazing.
you saw this movie.
Well, no, but you need, I know I was. No, but you need real interactions. It's like how I felt when I watched, much more extremely, I felt this way when I first watched Man of Steel, when he goes to his mom and goes, yo, mom, I found my real mom. And she's like, that's amazing. Tell me more. No mother on earth would respond that way. It's things like that where I'm like, A plus B doesn't equal C. What's happening?
Superman movie, you said that.
I have I'm not even going to go. I have very strong feelings about that movie.
Clearly.
But yeah, no, Rebel Wilson, How to Be Single is really cute. It's definitely worth it. And Alison Brie steals it. And they use all these great stand-ups as to the boyfriends, which is my favorite. I'm like, Brett Morin, Jason Mantzoukas.
Yeah. They were good. But Titus was great. Sorry. And he came out wearing like red pants. So none of them were like, I'm an octopus. I remember they were all in just very elegant outfits but John Stamos came out with a giant French mustache.
Oh, I heard about that.
It's kind of adorable.
He's wonderful. He's very handsome.
But yeah, so that's my part of 30-30.
Well, there we go.
I think we did it.
I think we did the show.
Well, thank you so much for coming on
This was
with
great.
us.
And
You're so
everybody
sweet.
keep listening to this podcast.
Oh, that's very
Yeah.
nice of you. I appreciate
Very
it.
funny.
That's very sweet. I should be more
I've been listening
confident.
to every episode. So far.
Every dang episode. Yeah. He's the biggest fan. It was actually kind of embarrassing. He was like, please let me come on.
Yeah.
We're like, well,
Thanks for it.
if we get it out of the way now, we don't have to do it.
No, we were so pumped. I mentioned, I'm like, I have a friend who worked in the Page program and in New York, I got stuck. And she was like, oh my gosh, she has to come on. I was like, okay, I'll hit him up.
Next time you guys will have some West Coast pages on here.
I know, it's going to be crazy.
It's a whole different world.
Whole new world.
Jay Leno.
Him and his denim on denim. All right. Well, that was Talk 30 to me. Great. Next episodes will be fun. Oh, we should do plugs. What are the websites for us?
Talk.
The look of fear you just gave me.
Are you about to say Talk 30 to me?
It is. So first,
What's our Twitter?
the Twitter handle is Talk 30 to me pod. Because of character restrictions.
Pod at the end.
I mean, Talk 30 to me wasn't available. And I didn't want to do
Okay, that's what
I tried that for I hate it. But
It's
then
a great handle. I'm sorry.
no, whatever.
Thank you.
And then I hate pod,
so
but
kind.
podcast, that's 4 extra characters, and that just screws everything up in the Twitter world. So Talk 30 to me pod, talk30tomepod@gmail.com. I think our website is talk30tomepodcast.com.
Cool. We'll get that figured out.
So yeah, we'll figure that out.
You can
But
follow me at Kimberly Lucas.
you can follow me at Redheaded Blonde.
She's so funny.
At Will Blanchard. Do follow me.
Oh yeah, we're Twitter
I
friends
still
now.
do Twitter.
I don't have you on Twitter.
We just followed each other, and you liked one of my
last
tweets.
few tweets have been pretty avant-garde, and I've done those for you. So
I haven't been on all week. What have I not seen? I'm gonna literally pull them up right now. I want to read them.
not on the podcast.
No, I won't read them out loud. I'll just like.
Can we just read through tweets?
Avant-garde and interesting.
I bet they're really. I will verify it for you. But no, that's where you can find us. Our next episode will be out in 2 weeks. Thank you so much for listening.
Thanks. Bye.
Do